Preseason football is presented by Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals, the official hospital of the Philadelphia Eagles. AAA, proud partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Bud Light, it's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. NRG, the power to change life. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15%. Visit geico.com.
And welcome to an August night here at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia as the New England Patriots and Philadelphia Eagles get set to kick off this 2013 preseason. We say it's August, it feels like August. 84 degrees, very high humidity. The forecast cloudy for tonight. We are hoping to avoid any possibility of rain before the night is done. Alongside Brian Baldinger, Scott Graham, glad to be here with you as we get ready for a new preseason. Now let's take you down to our sideline reporter, Dave Spadaro.
Thank you very much, Scott. The beginning of this week started with the keep of Eagles practicing a couple of times with the Patriots. An idea born from Bill Belichick, who approached Chip Kelly back at the Combine. The two have known each other for many, many years. They said, let's get together and have some good practices. 2 practices, a walkthrough. The Patriots did some damage to the Eagles, and they learned a lot. We'll see how much those lessons carry over into tonight. See what the Eagles can do with New England this evening.
Thank you, Dave. Sideline Report brought to you by Gatorade. There is Bill Belichick, very well known around the NFL, and a man who has a relationship with the new Eagles head coach. We will talk a little bit about that as we move along. 205 wins for Belichick. One of the iconic figures in the NFL, no doubt. And now, after all of these years of waiting, first time on the NFL sidelines for the new Eagles head coach, Chip Kelly.
It wasn't that long ago that he was the winning coach of the Fiesta Bowl. And really the race was on in the NFL to see who would land them. Eyes never look back to college, Chip. It's all about going forward. And tonight, he makes his debut as the new coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Alex
Henry has it teed up. The Eagles won the toss, elected to kick. Leon Washington, one of the great kick returners in the NFL, taking it a couple of yards deep. Quick special teams move down the field and a tackle. It's going to stop him shy of the 20-yard line from Brandon Graham. They'll mark it at the 20, and that's where New England will start things out offensively. Led out for at least a series, Baldy, by Tom Brady.
Well, you mentioned and Dave mentioned that they scrimmaged against the Patriots 3 days this week, and Tom Brady put on an exhibition. You can see why he is the player that he is, the way that he practiced. First time I got to watch him like that, and it was something to see for everybody.
8-time Pro Bowler sends his new receiver Danny Amendola in motion and gives off to Ridley. And Stephen Ridley, a huge hole, going to take it all the way. Unless he gets caught from behind. And he is caught from behind by Fletcher. Bradley Fletcher runs him down after a huge run all the way down to the Eagle 18-yard line.
Well, the Eagles opened up in their new 3-4 defense, and they went right at the hole over the right guard. I mean, they're coming right over inside here. And you can see D'Amico Ryans kind of overran the play. Logan Mankins right here pins him. No safety support right there. Missed tackle by Nate Allen, and Bradley Fletcher saved a touchdown on the first play.
62 yards on the first play from scrimmage for New England. And LeGarrette Blount in the backfield now, right back to the ground and right through the middle with good yardage inside the 10-yard line.
Well, I spoke with Billy Davis, the new defensive coordinator, about what he might expect tonight because the Eagles haven't tackled anybody in the first 2 weeks of training camp. And this is kind of an indication of, all right, you know, the Patriots look like they're in playoff mode. Let's button it up here and let's start getting off some blocks the way we have practiced.
Blunt the lone setback. Carry is his, and the very close to first down push. Going to get him, I believe, just shy of it. Isaac Sopoaga right in the middle threw him back as he crossed the 9-yard line.
Well, Isaac Sopoaga is the new nose tackle. Here he is right in the middle. He takes on the double team. He just completely throws the center down, and then he gets a bunch of help. And so that's what he's there for, to plug things up in the middle. He was as good as anybody in this business. He anchored the 49er defensive line for the last 9 years, and it was a good catch for the Eagles.
Want the deep back now on 3rd down and short. Following his block, he's going to have first down and more. Second effort running will take him down to the 6 as he moves the sticks once again. Patrick Chung with the tackle for the Eagles.
Well, that's Oregon on Oregon now. Patrick Chung played in Oregon along with LeGarrette Blount. who played for Chip at Oregon. And so there they are, duck against duck right there. And I'd say LeGarrette Blount got the best, although that's not an easy man to bring down.
Michael Vick waiting his turn on the sideline. 4 plays for the Patriots, all of them on the ground so far, and Ridley back in the backfield. Straight ahead, and drops his head down inside the 2, close to the 1-yard line. Connor Barwin making his first tackle.
I guess they saw enough of Tom Brady in the scrimmages that he doesn't have to throw the ball. Came out running it. Connor Barwin, the new starting left outside linebacker, brought in free agency, one of the first guys they signed in his 5th year, in his 2nd contract here. He's much as expected from a man that had 11.5 sacks 2 years ago for the Texans.
2nd down and goal. Ridley, left side, touchdown. So that quickly, just 6 plays. Of course, the one big play on the first play from scrimmage of 62 yards, and New England is on the board.
Well, the Patriots are a good running football team. They ran right over their all-pro left guard, Logan Mankins. And this is not the way they wanted to start, but this is what they need work on. I mean, this is a transition from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4. They haven't done any live goal line work, short yardage work. I mean, Chip is looking at this going, all right, this is what preseason is about right now.
And Ridley, who had a big year last year for New England, gets his team on the board first. Stephen Gostkowski, who's become a mainstay now as the kicker for this Patriots team, bangs home the extra point. And a 6-play, 80-yard drive for Bill Belichick's team to start the preseason. Man who started it, finishes it, and takes it over the goal line as New England gets in front.
Back here in Philadelphia, Patriots off to a nice start, 7-0. Their lead over the Eagles, 11:48 left to go in the first quarter. Thanks for joining us here, preseason game number 1 of the Patriots Television Network. Let's bring in our gentlemen, our Bob's Discount Studio, Andy Hart, Paul Perillo of Patriots Football Weekly. And guys, nice start for the Patriots, a little different there, 6 runs for 80 yards.
Ground and pound, we're going to talk about this on Twitter right now, at Patriots with a hashtag of Pat's Preseason. We're interested in what you have to think. Andy, who saw this season starting like that?
Well, the easy way to replace a passing game when you lose a lot of receptions, just don't throw the ball at all. The one thing I will say, and you want us to be critiquing here, is Stephen Ridley couldn't finish it. As Christian said, a piano jumped on his back. He needs to finish those runs if he takes that next step to a 1,500 or 2,000 yard type back.
There's Ridley, 6 plays, all runs, 80 yards, 4 minutes and 12 seconds, capped off by the Ridley 1-yard touchdown run. Gostkowski to kick off for New England on this humid night, but a good night for football. A great night in the sense we see it back. On the kickoff, Demarius Johnson carries it over the 20-yard line, out to about the 23, where the Eagles will start 1st and 10. And let's take a look at the New England Patriots defense here. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Gillette, the official shave of the New England Patriots. Tommy Kelly, 6'6", 300 pounds, the big guy on the line.
You can't
Chandler
miss him.
Jones, yeah, we'll see how he improves as well. Spikes, Mayo, and Hightower as your linebackers. And then the secondary, Aqib Talib. One of the keys here, we saw what he did when he was healthy last year for the Patriots. Michael Vick in the shotgun for Philadelphia, 1st and 10. Give over the left side is pounded, stopped right away. On the play was Gerard Mayo wrapping up the Eagle runner. And speaking of that, let's take a look at your Philadelphia Eagles. As far as they're concerned, their starting lineups. And again, Vick and Nick Foles. That's the quarterback battle we'll see under Chip Kelly. Bryce Brown can break at any time. Deshaun Jackson is an outstanding athlete as well, as the Eagles try to turn things around from their 4-12 season a year ago. 2nd down, call it 6 for the Eagles. Give over the right side, immediately stopped and pounded right there for the Eagles. Tommy Kelly and Gerard Mayo pounding away and taking up Chris Polk, the 23-year-old from Washington.
This is the thing you can't predict in a preseason practice, the physicality. This front seven of the New England Patriots is huge, guys. Coach Belichick talked about that a little bit with us this week, just how big and how physical the group in front of them is. And you see that in these initial plays. There's no push in the front end. Tommy Kelly is a huge guy, a la Richard Seymour of the olden days. Look for this physicality to be a little much for this kind of offense to handle.
Third down completion. Vick over the middle near midfield, where it's picked up by Jason Avant for a first down. Logan Ryan, the rookie cornerback of Rutgers, on the coverage on a 22-yard completion for Michael Vick.
You know, they didn't get much pressure here on Michael Vick, give enough time, and just finds a seam right there. It's an easy pitch and catch for Michael Vick.
Well, that, of course, was Matt Chatham earlier down on the field to be with us all preseason long. Another running play here for the Eagles. Chris Polk takes it over midfield. Gets near the 45-yard line. Rob Ninkovich, the outstanding defensive end, on the stop for the Pats.
You know, Rob Ninkovich probably is, in my opinion, one of the most valuable players on this defense. He can play multiple positions. He played multiple positions last year. Now you're going to see Philadelphia kind of ramping up the tempo a little bit and trying to see if they can get more plays off faster.
Much talked about the read option under Chip Kelly. Vick down the sidelines, looking long, and it is complete, and it is a touchdown. Aqib Talib gets spurned on the coverage. Deshaun Jackson, Mr. Everything for Philadelphia, 47 yards into the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles.
Well, the one thing that you can't coach, and the biggest issue with Aqib Talib, he's a big corner, but what he can't do is he can't run quite as fast as Jackson. You're here with a great pass, throws it inside, and he can't recover. He's taking the outside shade, and Vick does a great job of putting it inside. It's really not even a contested play by Talib.
Well, Christian, not what you wanted to see as far as the start goes for the defense. Yes on offense, but no there. I guess how disturbing, that's maybe not the right word, is this early on.
Well, you know, what Talib needed to do was, jam him a little bit. That's what he does. His game is being physical at the point of attack. And for a guy like Jackson, who's Deshaun Jackson, who's 5'10", 175 pounds, you really only have to get his hands on him and just reroute him a little bit. Great job by the Eagles. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Patriots 7-7.
And we're tied at 7 after a 5-play, 77-yard Michael Vick touchdown pass to Deshaun Jackson. 47 yards, 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the drive. Christian, what's going through Aqib Talib's mind right now?
Well, here's the good thing about Aqib Talib is that he has a short memory. I mean, he's a physical cornerback. He's very instinctive also. So, and this play right here, he just gets his hips turned just a little bit, and by that time he can't recover. There's too much space between him and Deshaun Jackson, and Michael Vick does an excellent job of putting the ball inside of Deshaun Jackson. So even if Talib can recover, he can't get his hands on the ball.
In listening to Bill Belichick this morning, Christian, talking about just how great an athlete Deshaun Jackson is, just a difference maker as the ball is downed in the hands of Leon Washington. The Patriots will come back out and start 1st and 10, but Bill just saying he's a game breaker. And he's one of those elite athletes in the game, and he certainly showed it right there going up against Talib. Not a good start, but you got to be like a closer or a goalie, kind of forget it and move on.
And that's one of the issues Talib has. He's a great corner, but he has a hard time running with those faster receivers.
Well, Tom Brady, what do you think of that coming up for a second series here tonight, Christian? Didn't throw the ball, at least his arm feels good.
You'll probably see a little bit more throwing this.
See what happened to the series, 6 plays, all running last time. What does he do? He drops back, has time, now he gets hit, throws the ball. We'll see if a flag is thrown, but he was pressured by Fletcher Cox and knocked down. And no flag, it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, they got full max protection right here, but the tight ends go out. This is a coverage sack. I mean, Tom Brady's got lots of time to get rid of the ball. There's just nobody's open. Look at him. He's checking out the defense, trying to see where everything is. Now remember, he's seen this team for 3 days straight. He's been tearing them apart, and they obviously know what they've been running. Doesn't quite get the look he wants, so he's going to have to get rid of it.
This has been a good offensive line. They gel together. Solder, Menkins, Wendell, and Vollmer all together. We have Will Svitek, the rookie from Rutgers, in the lineup tonight for New England. They've been banged up at the right guard position where Dan Conley's coming off shoulder surgery, so he's been slow to come back. But the line has been together. Brady complete to Amendola, the newest Patriot, out over the middle of the 25-yard line, and that's something Patriots fans will like to see a lot this year, Christian. Brady to a healthy Amendola.
And that is a very easy read. That's a get back on track. It's a nice, quick little 5-yard, 6-yard route that these guys have been working on since Amendola's been here. 6 yards and try and get as many yards after the catch as you can.
Christian, a lot of the conversation, they lose Welker, they pick up Amendola, similar players. Do you expect him to just fill the shoes of Welker?
Well, I don't know if he's going to fill the shoes. I think he's a different type of player. He's similar to Welker, but he's not the same. It has a lot of those same characteristics. I think he might be a little bit faster. He can also get on the edge a little bit better than Welker did, but great hands, tough kid, lots of upside.
And situational offense, guys, that's a big focus of this team this offseason. When you have a guy like Amendola, similar to Wes, when they put themselves in a bad spot in 2nd and 10, it's get back on track, as Christian mentioned. So you're really looking for that chunk play of 5 to 6 to 7 yards to make 3rd down manageable. And with Kimbrel Tompkins, you have a guy who can get that 3 yards. So there's a plan, there's sort of a design behind the science here. So they put themselves in a bad spot. You have to iteratively get back in the game.
Yeah, one of the kids out of Cincinnati, Kimbrel Tompkins, had that reception for a touchdown. Then we saw a Ridley 5-yard run. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Patriots at the 37-yard line. Brady out over the flat, complete again to Tompkins near a 1st down. We've said Tompkins twice already. What do we know about this kid? And this kid just doesn't seem to want to go away in the preseason.
Undrafted free agent out of Cincinnati. What he's doing is he's catching everything, and they're throwing him the ball. You can see he can get off blocks. He's a smart kid. He knows where to go, and that's the most important thing when it comes to making this team.
3rd and short. Hooman into the lineup in front of Ridley. Amendola comes in motion. Brady gives to Ridley. He follows his blockers nicely, gets over midfield for a big gain. Another 1st down for New England. Patrick Chung on the stop.
And this is one of the areas that was a point of emphasis for the Patriots was situational, 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down, short yardage. And watch, they got Daniel Farrell's front side, big Nate Soldiers pressing it, and all he really needs is a crease. We saw on the first play of the game, Steve really doesn't have that breakaway speed, but what he is, he's a bruiser.
Oh, Matt, you look at Ridley, and, the question is, other than holding onto the football, he seems to do everything well.
Well, and from the field level, I was a bit surprised. The guy's thick. I know a lot of the conversation this offseason with the addition of LeGarrette Blount was to have the bigger body, the guy that would be able to be the bruiser and get the hard yard. He's built low. Stephen Ridley is a thick guy. He can get that hard yard as well. He's really one of those 3-down guys, and he's really a luxury to have on this team. So other than just the consciousness issue we saw at the end of last season, ball security is a thing. He'll deal with that. But knowing that you have a guy that can really do it on all 3 downs in a lot of different ways is really a luxury for this team.
Well, we introduced you to Kimbrel Tompkins. There, say hello to Aaron Dobson, another one of the rookie top draft choices. Brady has time, fires it over the middle for Tompkins. That's complete inside the 20. It'll set up a 2nd down. Tell us about Aaron Dobson, the kid that seems to catch everything as well and has a great vertical leap, too.
Aaron Dobson, listen, he has a basketball background, so he's really good at high pointing the ball and getting up there at its highest point, controlling his body. More importantly, he's a big receiver, so he can win all those 50-50 balls or that one-on-one matchup.
95's the mic!
As Brady complete to Tompkins, gets inside the 15 down to about the 13, where will be another 1st down. Keep the chain moving. We saw a lot of this over the course of practice over these last 3 days. Brady very comfortable in a rhythm and very comfortable with a guy like Kimbrel Tompkins.
This is a guy that's been all over the place. He signed to Tennessee to go play football there. Then Lane Kiffin left and he decided to go to Cincinnati. But all he did was be productive. And you can obviously see that he's on the same page with Brady because even with those adjusting routes, he's right where he should be.
Tom Brady leading another great drive here for New England in the 1st quarter. Tied at 7 with 5:11 to go. 1st and 10, Brady looks to the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Quentin Sims. Another one, Ben Vereen with the catch. I thought it was 84. Take a look at this play, a beauty right here.
This is what Shane Vereen did last year. They flexed him out, and they got the matchup that they wanted, and he obviously has good hands. And right here, great hands. Phenomenal throw by Tom Brady. Great job getting both feet inbound, securing the catch, not dropping when he hits the ground. This is what you're looking for in a 3rd down back, in that specialty back.
Yeah, Quentin Sims was another one of the guys, 84. I saw 34 in Vereen, and we saw a kid that, like you said, 2 words for him, Christian, great hands and a lot of trust from Tom Brady.
And you said it right there. They did this last year. They flexed him out. They want to see what he can do. They want him to be that third down back. The biggest question is, can he pass protect? We obviously know that he can catch the ball. He can catch those over-the-shoulder passes, those tough one-on-one matchups. Tom Brady knows where he's going to be. He knows he's going to have a great chance of catching the ball if he just gives him a chance.
And it's under review right now, Christian. What do you think?
Well, the question is, does he have control over it? And the question is, are his knees in bounds? And I think both his feet are in bounds and his knees are in bounds. Doesn't ball with the catch.
Yeah,
there's really no question whether he caught it or not. And what they always used to tell me is, if you don't know, just act like you caught it, and he did the right thing, showing everybody the ball. Hey, look, I caught it.
Well, you did a lot of that in winning 2 Super Bowls here in New England with the Patriots. Bill Belichick has to be pleased with what he's seen so far. Chip Kelly, not so much. Tom Brady, again, as good as advertised, so impressive down here in these 3 practices against Philadelphia. And you and I just couldn't get over just how good he was so far for these 3 days. We'll figure this out. We'll see what happens with this play. Patriots may have the lead. We'll let you know when we return. Still under review. Back here in Philadelphia, Dan Roach, Christian Fourier, Matt Chatham on the field.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
There you have it. A touchdown pass from Tom Brady. 13 yards to Shane Vereen. And the Patriots have themselves a 13-7 lead. The Patriots are in this game. We've seen a combined 21 offensive plays, 21 points pending this extra point, Christian. You were kind of saying to me during the break, not a feel of a preseason game. A lot of urgency here.
It doesn't, and the physicality, I think, is something that we haven't seen all throughout camp. And so it's kind of nice to see it still exists. So right now we got ourselves a great game. It's 14-7. Everybody's happy. Big catch by Shane Vereen. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Look at that guy. Hey, high five, slap hands.
Welcome back. 14-7. Pat's up. 5:05 to go in the first quarter here on the Patriots Television Network. Tom Brady, a good start so far on that last drive. Outstanding. 65 yards and a touchdown. Run first drive. Lots of throwing for number 12. Second drive. What do the guys think? Let's go to Paul Perillo and Andy Hart in our Gillette Stadium studios.
All we've been talking about is the tight ends, the wide receivers, and they were clearly involved with that second drive, but 2 scores, 2 running backs. Ridley, we know he can do it on the ground, but I love when guys make me look smart. Shane Vereen, I still think, can be a star on this offense. No more Danny Woodhead to fall back on. This is Shane Vereen's turn at third down back, and he's making the most of it already.
Christian Fourier here in the booth with me. Christian, we were talking about Tom Brady. He just seems like nothing is done half speed, and this guy has a sense of urgency every time he takes to the football field. As Brandon Boykin returns the Gostkowski kick here, has some running room out to the 25. He's pushed down about the 27-yard line, but Brady, urgency here. We saw it in practice, even in the walkthrough yesterday, and it seems like it carried over here tonight.
Yeah, I'm amazed he's played as much as he has already tonight, and it shows that he knows that this team has some potential, yet there's a lot of question marks, and he's obviously going to be a part of the success of this offense, so he might as well be out there as much as possible.
All smiles from Tom Brady, and all smiles to the man we go downstairs to. That is our own Steve Burton. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Rochi, great job up in the booth there, guys. One thing on Brady, there's a saying, he who aims at nothing will hit it every time. And the thing about Brady, when you watch him warm up, when he's warming up with Amendola, he is throwing to a spot. He's throwing to either the 8 or the 0 or in between the 0. I mean, he's trying to work on his accuracy. He does that day in and day out. That's why he's pinpoint. We could tell down here that touchdown to Shea Vereen was indeed a touchdown. He put that right on the money, but that's what Tom Brady does.
I think we need Tom Brady to play some defense here for the Patriots. A 19-yard completion from Vic to Cooper. There you go. There's the big guy up front. Brandon Spike stuffing the run here. Good to see from the Patriots getting a little defense going here, Christian.
Yeah, Vic got outside of the pocket there on that first pass play to Riley Cooper. Obviously something that they got to be able to find that receiver when he comes through. But obviously the run stop is a big key for them this year.
Yeah, a lot of conversation, guys, this year on the limitations that Brandon Spikes has. He's not so fast. He's not so great. All those kinds of conversations. We forget how incredibly impactful this guy is in the run game. He's special. there aren't a lot of guys in the league, few if any, that can do what he can do in the run game. So we need to remember that, there aren't a lot of Mike linebackers in the NFL that are great in coverage. So his limitations are far outweighed by the impact he has just on that nature of physicality at that middle linebacker position. And we saw it there on that last play.
Yeah, we saw a second down incompletion for Michael Vick. Sets up a 3rd down and 11 on the 45-yard line of Philadelphia. 3:55 to go in the first quarter. Patriots up by 7. And Vick has time, looks now, rolls to his left, fires. It's caught and complete. And down goes the Patriot defender. Getting knocked out of the play was Kyle Arrington, and that is Brent Selleck with the reception. We've seen that before. Arrington does the job, though, stops him, and they'll be forced to punt.
Yeah, he's a sure tackler, and this is one of those 3rd down situations Matt was talking about. And the Patriots obviously want to get off the field. Great job of flushing Vick from the pocket. He's going to have to throw it to the flat and get those short yardage plays.
Donnie Jones with the punt. Back to receive Julian Edelman. Nice to see him on the football field. Lets it go. And it takes a Philadelphia Eagle bounce if they can get it down. And it looks like they will have it down inside the 1-yard line. Nice job by special teams there by the Eagles. And when we return, we'll see if Tom Brady takes to the field one more time. We've got a good ball game here tonight on the Patriots Television Network. Welcome back to Philadelphia. 16 snaps for Tom Brady, 2 series, 7 of 8, 65 yards and a touchdown. Gives the Patriots a 14-7 lead, so that means Ryan Mallett, the third-year quarterback out of Arkansas, will come on and lead this Patriots team in the first quarter now. He should get a decent amount of playing time, but let's go back to Tom Brady, Christian Fourier, as we watch Ryan Mallett start things here. What did you see from Brady tonight?
Pretty much exactly what we saw during practice. He's just very efficient, getting everybody lined up, keeping the chains moving, making sure everybody knows what they're doing. It's textbook Tom Brady, New England Patriots.
Shane Vereen on the carry, getting away from the tough field position they were put in by Philadelphia. Matt Chatham down there, what did you see as far as just everything Tom Brady did in those 2 series?
Well, Tom managed the game well. We know that's what his real strength is. But what the situation that Ryan Mallett now has is a coach's dream. They try to set these up in practice. They try to put the ball on the 1-yard line, but it's simulated. Here they have a real backed-up situation, something they want to see work on. The coach may actually be happy that they're in this situation because he wants them to get the reps, wants them to get the look, wants to see them come out of their own backyard.
Yeah, second down at 7 from the 4 and throws it behind Aaron Dobson. That falls incomplete. I'd like to go back to Gillette Stadium in our studios there with Paul Perillo and Andy Hart. And guys, you've watched all these practices. We've watched them. We've watched them here in Philadelphia. What have you guys seen from Tom Brady so far in this preseason?
Well, the thing that I really like, guys, is the way he's letting these young receivers catch passes. Kenbrell Tompkins, 3 or 4 catches already. Aaron Dobson's been targeted. I think in the past, Tom has been a little bit reluctant to let these new guys come in and make plays. He hasn't been reluctant at all. He's had a great offseason and a great preseason. We're seeing it already.
And he's dominating the Eagles. We saw it in practice, 27 of 27, 7 of 8. Now we have to wonder, how bad is the Eagles' pass defense? But that's a different story for a different day. He loves his young receivers.
Yeah, Tom Brady has played with a purpose in trying to get those young receivers incorporated into this offense. And we just saw Ryan Mallett, his pass fall incomplete over the hands of Shane Vereen. It sets up a 4th down and 7 on the 4-yard line, where Zoltan Mesko will come out to punt for New England. Here's the kick, a beauty from Mesko. Dennis Johnson at midfield takes it. He's got nowhere to go. Good special teams work right there by the Pats. About a 7-yard return on the play for Philadelphia. Dane Fletcher on the stop for New England. Well, tonight's trivia is brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of the New England Patriots. Here you go. Let's have some fun. Name the 4 defensive backs in NFL history with 25 or more sacks and 25 or more interceptions. I know at least one, Christian, but I'm not really that good at trivia. Nick Foles now in for Philadelphia. Another guy to watch here. The Eagles contemplating Vick or Foles as their #1 quarterback under head coach Chip Kelly. They've got good field position, too, and they run the football right at Mayo. At about 6 yards. And you want your question answered?
I do, because I have no clue.
I think Rodney Harrison was one of them. It's got to be.
25 sacks and 25 interceptions?
And there, yeah, he's right there. Brian Dawkins, Rondé Barber, and Adrian Wilson. Big acquisition off-season. A lot of people like to compare him to Harrison as Foles gets battered and bammed by Tommy Kelly right up the middle here. So tonight's trivia question brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of the New England Patriots. So there's your answer. Is Adrian Wilson the answer here for the New England Patriots with that physical presence?
I think when you ask the Patriots coaches, about Adrian Wilson, they say he's similar to Rodney Harrison. He's not like Rodney Harrison, he's similar to Rodney Harrison. And what Rodney Harrison brought was a physical presence. This guy looks like a linebacker. You put him and Gerard Mayo next to each other, I'm not sure you can tell who's who. You switch their jersey numbers. I mean, Adrian Wilson is a big physical dude. And when it comes to run support, when it comes to knowing where somebody is on the field, you better know where he is if you run the ball and he's in the box.
Matt, as we have a challenge flag, I think, being thrown here by Bill Belichick, what do you see in Adrian Wilson? He was we talked to him this morning, said he was trying to find his niche in this defense early on.
I think this is a luxury situation for a guy like Adrian. We know he's a physical guy. We know the kind of presence he can be back there. But the distinction between him and Rodney, I think, is important. Having been on the field with Rodney, he's an over-the-top guy. He's a loud guy. He's the leader. He's a different kind of personality, I think, than Adrian is. Both are extremely intense, but there's a difference there. And I think what's important is Adrian doesn't have to walk into this place far into his career and be that kind of guy.
Let's take a look at what they are challenging. I believe it's whether or not it's an incomplete pass as Nick Foles threw that here. Looks like the old tuck rule maybe coming back. Eliminated.
Didn't they change that rule?
What do you think? Incomplete or is it a pass?
I'm going to go off and say incomplete pass. Arm was in motion. And we'll see what the refs have to say about that. Remember, this is for the refs too. This is they're getting all their prep work.
Well, the other interesting part here is, again, we talked about the intensity of Tom Brady in these practices. Look at Bill Belichick. It's early on in a preseason game, and he's throwing that challenge flag. He's taking this. It's a rehearsal for him too to get ready for the regular season.
Yeah, and that's the way they need to treat, because the refs in the preseason, as the season goes on, they call everything. And the farther you get into the season, they get a little more lax with what they call. Then you get into the playoffs and the preseason. in the postseason, they pretty much just let you play.
And Matt Chatham, interesting. Bill Belichick, we talked to him again this morning, and you won 3 Super Bowls under him. He said, this is work for me. These practices against the Eagles this week, I have to improve. I have to learn. I have to get ready for these situations. Again, just shows everything matters to this guy. Every play, every snap, everything they do.
Absolutely. And it's often an overlooked fact that coaches, their anxiety level is really high. I mean, you may wonder, there's no consequence in this game in the wins and loss column. But they're managing, and they are managers. They're the game managers, and they're working with 90 people. So they're trying to work all these people into the game. They're trying to get their practice, when they're going to need to throw the flags, when they're going to make certain calls situationally, personnel groups, changing game operation. That's really their job, and this is their big first day as well.
Still waiting to see how this one will shake out. Tommy Kelly, by the way, did a good job wrapping up the quarterback there, Nick Foles. We'll see. Jerome Bogers will have the call here and see what we got.
After reviewing the play, it is a fumble. While the quarterback was drawing his arm back, the defender knocked the ball free, causing the quarterback to come through with an empty hand. The ball was recovered by New England at the 43-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 1:49.
Well, the arm wasn't going forward, right, Christian? So they call it a fumble. Bill Belichick wins. And, again, good practice there for Bill, and it turns out nicely for the Patriots and Ryan Mallett.
It's a great job by the defense. And Tommy Kelly getting upfield and Chandler Jones going to finish that play off, just not giving up on the play and making something happen.
See if Ryan Mallett can make something happen here now. Ball on New England's 43-yard line. Drops back to pass, has time, finds the wide open receiver. Daniel Fells, the tight end, gets a first down, steps out of bounds. Well, maybe just shy of that first down, but it'll be a second and short for New England.
And these are the type of plays that Ryan Mallett has to excel in. We know he's got a strong arm. We know he can throw the ball down the field, but what he needs to be able to do is take what the defense gives him. Daniel Fells wide open on a shallow cross. Nice, easy touch, easy catch. Should give a better chance so he can catch and run with it upfield, but we'll take it.
Second and short, we saw this a lot in practice. These situations particularly worked on by Bill Belichick and his offense. Edelman in motion. Mallett complete again to Fells inside the 40 for a first down.
Now you kind of see Mallett getting into a nice little rhythm. 2 plays, 2 completions. And the one thing I will tell you that this guy does not lack is confidence. He knows he has a strong arm. He's confident that he knows the offense. He can get guys in and out of the offense. He can get them lined up right. He knows where to go with the ball. So I think you're going to see a different Ryan Mallett this preseason.
First and 10 on the 37. Mallett this time will give it to Ridley. Ridley right up the middle, bowling his way down near the 30-yard line. Matt Chatham, no Hernandez, no Gronkowski. It's been followed. It's been a storyline of this offseason coming into today. A lot of competition here with Daniel Fells, Hooman, and then the young kid Sudfeld. What are you seeing from the tight ends?
It's interesting you say that, Rochi, because you lose that production. You lose those 2 big-name guys. And what do the Patriots do? They come out in 13 personnel, which is 1 running back and 3 tight ends. We're saying who's going to fill the production. They actually put 3 of them out there. They moved up and down the field here with either 13 or 12. So they're sticking them all out there and giving all of these guys a chance to make a play.
And a completion by Mallett out over the middle to Daniel Fells. Hits him 3 times here in this series. And Ryan Mallett, like Tom Brady, after a little bit of a hiccup, gets the chains moving for the Patriots as they look to strike again. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Patriots 14, the Eagles 7. We'll be back with more on the Patriots preseason television network after these messages.
And welcome back to Patriots football preseason. Bill Belichick always coaching up his teams, and Ryan Mallett had a good little series to start off the end of that first quarter. Now he's going to go downfield.
Incomplete to Josh Boyce, After 3 straight completions to Daniel Fells, Ryan Mallett just threw it a bit out of the reach of Josh Boyce, who couldn't come down with that football, and they'll have a 2nd down and 10 situation.
And that's the one he's really going to want back. When they watch film tomorrow, he's going to be kicking himself because it's a wide open receiver right down the field, just like you draw it up. And the biggest knock on Mallett was that he didn't quite have the touch that you want a quarterback to have. He can drive it in there in that small window, but he's got to be able to get those easy throws in there.
Yeah, he needs to make those throws, Christian. And now he gets rid of the ball in a hurry here. Good pursuit by the Eagles defense. And it'll be a 3rd down situation. Vinny Curry of Marshall right up the middle here against Ryan Mallett.
Well, you see the offensive line. This is number 2. Now, a great job of at least keeping the play alive so he doesn't have to give up a sack. Now we're losing the Patriots that don't have are out without both guards. They're down to their 3rd guard right now. So it's been a makeshift offensive line for the most part in preseason.
Josh Klein had a tough time there. Good situation here for Mallett. See what he has. 3rd and 10. The 25-yard line. The fake to Vereen. The give to Edelman over the side. Falls incomplete. Caught it. Fumbled it. Gets it back, and it'll be 4th down, which should bring in Gostkowski.
Now you're trying to get the hands into one of your best runners with the football, which is Julian Edelman. Quick pass to the outside. Doesn't quite give him a good enough chance to get downfield with the blocking. Obviously, you just don't want to give up the ball, but at least you can get 3 points out of this.
Nice job by Philip Hunt, knocking the ball loose for Edelman. Gostkowski in. A 44-yard attempt for the veteran who has been money for this Patriots team. One of the best in the game. And I jinxed him. No good. Much more to come. Lots of fun, analysis, and more. Patriots and the Eagles on the Patriots Television Network. Good to go here in the first quarter. Preseason game number 1 for the New England Patriots, leading the Philadelphia Eagles here in the 2nd quarter. Patriots now putting some of the guys we want to see and find out about, and I'm sure Patriots fans feel the same way. Number 91 right there. They call him the freakish athlete, Mr. Collins.
And he's been playing a lot of different positions this preseason, and he's one of these guys that you really don't know where to put him. He excels at pretty much every position. Started off as a quarterback in high school, was a safety in college, then moved to linebacker. Great range. Long arms, smart kid. The key for the Patriots is to find out in the next 4 weeks where he best fits in this defense.
23-year-old, 6'3", 250 pounds out of Southern Miss. Philadelphia ball, 1st and 10 after the missed field goal on their own 34-yard line. Give over the left side for the Eagles. Bryce Brown, he'll get a couple, not much. Let's go downstairs to Matt Chatham. Matt, our Putnam look or spotlight beginning of the game was on Jason Collins. Tell us a little bit about Collins from your perspective and what you see of him and what he needs to do here to make this team.
Well, Jamie Collins is a versatile guy, and I think it's important to understand Patriots' historical point of view. Look at him a little bit like a Roman Pfeiffer. He's in a situation where you've got 4 stalwarts in front of you. Ball on the ground there. But you've got 4 guys in the front of you where there's no pressure to come in. You have sort of a game plan piece in him. You're playing the Colts, you're playing the Broncos, you're playing teams like that where you need a movable linebacker. So he can do that role with his hand on the ground and move around. He's really a luxury for this team at this point.
Yeah, Jamie Collins has the potential to be a good one. 3rd and 5. Foles has time, fires over left side, complete, and he'll be pushed out of bounds. It'll be a first down for the Eagles. Let's go down to Paul Perillo and Andy Hart at Gillette Stadium. Guys, your thoughts on what you've seen so far of this kid. I know he'll make the team, but how much of a project is he, and what do you think he needs to work on?
Well, I think the thing that really stands out is exactly what Christian talked about, the athleticism. Talking to Pepper Johnson a little bit about him, he's saying there's one thing about athleticism, it's another thing to translate that to the field. We're seeing that with Collins. We're seeing the ability to cover in space, and right on cue he's making plays against the run. I think he's a big part of sub packages immediately with a chance to have a bigger role as the season progresses.
And if you look at this defense, they're giving up yards. We saw that first drive. They gave up the big play. That was a problem last year. But they succeeded last year with turnovers. And I think Collins is a guy on the edge there in coverage and rushing a little bit, can be involved in the turnover game, and that's where this defense is going to live, it looks like, yet again.
Well, it's been interesting to watch him develop. He went from a safety to a linebacker now to a down lineman at times, too. So he's got a long way to go, but the Patriots like what they see. The Eagles also like what they see as Bryce Brown takes that for a first down here. And the Eagles are moving the ball against this Patriots team.
Yeah, Nick Foles is starting to ramp up the tempo a little bit. They're not huddling up. They're just kind of muddled a little bit. He calls the play, and he's making sure that he gets everybody lined up right. And
pressure from Collins, but Foles gets away and slides for the first down. That's what we wanted to see out of Jamie Collins. Nearly had him here, but lesson learned there. Matt, what do you learn from that situation if you're Jamie Collins?
Well, one of the points, guys, here that a young player has to get is he has to bring himself under control. Your eyes get really big. The play is open up for you, but you need to break yourself down, control that breathing, and make the tackle. He didn't there. But as this drive has progressed, we've got to see him do a lot of different stuff. So keep his eyes.
Going back there, he just missed him. Good movement by Foles to get out of the way. He comes back and throws the incompletion to Riley Cooper. It'll be a second down and 10. 11:37 to go here in the second quarter. Glad to have you with us. We're having a lot of fun. Hope you join us here throughout the preseason. 14-7, Patriots lead. Kind of letting you know what's going on the field with Matt Chatham down there, Paul Perillo, Andy Hart in our Gillette Stadium studios. Christian Fourier here with me. A little run there for Bryce Brown. And again, Chip Kelly, the New Hampshire native, former Oregon coach, brought in here, bringing his offense. We didn't see much of it, Christian, in the practices we've been watching, but just my opinion, I thought Foles ran it better than Vic in the 3 days that I watched.
He definitely seems like he has a better grasp of the offense. He's obviously not as physically gifted when it comes to running, but he's got a strong arm, and he knows where to get the ball. I mean, that's half the battle. This offense of Chip Kelly, you have to be able to think quickly, and that pre-snap read becomes twice as important, especially when you're not huddling. It's almost like a 2-minute drill, even though you're not in 2-minute territory.
Jason Avant with the completion. Marquise Cole with the coverage, name we have here to talk a little bit about, too. He's in competition for that cornerback spot, and here's a give straight up the middle for a touchdown. That was too easy for Bryce Brown. Eight-yard run. The Eagles strike right back. 6', 223-pounder out of Kansas State. And we should be tied here momentarily.
Well, this Oregon offense gets they talk about a lot of credit about how they like to play fast and throw the ball, but at its core, they're a downhill running offense. They want to be physical. They want to pound the ball. Don't worry about what it looks like in the backfield. What Chip Kelly wants to do is be physical. and this is what this offense allows him to do. It may not look like a regular offense that you see in the NFL, but the keys are still the same.
And it's good. We're seeing that read option. Can the Patriots solve that puzzle? We'll discuss that when we return in a tie ball game.
Back here on your Patriots preseason broadcast, that last drive, we got to see this young group of defensive linemen, the second wave, the guys after your Vince Wilfork and Tommy Kelly. Marcus Forston's a guy who's been on shadow, a guy that you're going to want to see more from. Corey Grissom is another name, another guy named Joe Villano. These aren't the guys you're going to see in your headlines in the newspaper, but it's a critical role. The Kyle Loves and Brandon Diedrichs are gone, and we saw on that last drive Foles be relatively comfortable in the pocket and a couple of significant runs down the field. These are huge opportunities. These are Super Bowls inevitably for these guys. A second quarter game where you have sort of an iterative thing right down the field, yard after yard. You don't want to see that. That group's going to need to tighten it up. There's roster spots at stake.
Yeah, plenty to discuss on that read option. We get to that. Kickoff by Henry. Leon Washington with the carry just over the 20-yard line. You know, let's get back to this Patriots offense. We talked in our pre-game broadcast. We also talked a lot about it in this game. These are your wide receivers. What do you think of this lineup?
You know, as far as a young group, I love it. I think Danny Amendola is a great addition. Seeing him in practice the past couple weeks, he's doing an excellent job. Matthew Slater is going to be your special teams role player on this offense. But then you need the young guys to step up. You need Aaron Dobson, you need Kenbrell Tompkins, and you need the big tight end that we haven't seen much of late, Zach Sudfeld from Nevada.
And Mallett with the give, straight up ahead for the Patriots. And let's go back to Gillette here after the Stephen Ridley run. And Paul, let's talk about these wide receivers. What do you got?
Well, Kenbrell Tompkins is a guy I've really been intrigued by. What we've seen mostly during the course of training camp is a lot of deep routes, a lot of sideline stuff. I was impressed tonight, a lot of underneath stuff. 3rd and 3, he's right at the sticks, he's picking up first downs. I think that's a good sign for a young receiver, not just a one-trick pony.
And I keep saying it, the rapport that they're building with Brady, the ability that Brady is saying, okay, I'm going to throw it to this guy. And I know he has to in some sense because there aren't a lot of other options, but we've seen body language issues in the past. He seems very comfortable working with these young guys, including Tompkins.
First down completion there to Aaron Dobson. And I apologize to my English teachers all along the way here by saying what you got to Paul Perillo. I'll take that one back. But I won't take back what I've been saying all along to you, Christian, is how much I love Aaron Dobson and that kid's hands. And we saw it again there.
Well, and his size, too. I mean, he's a big receiver. I mean, you have Josh Boyce, who has the 4.3 speed, the rookie out of TCU. Then you have Aaron Dobson, who has the size and brings that physicality that you want on the outside. And if you get some inside rotation, some shallow crosses, some deep routes from like a Kenbrell Tompkins, you really have everything you need. But you need to remember, these are rookies. These guys, they've only had a couple weeks of training camp. This is their first preseason game. We're all anointing them as the next great thing to come through here as receivers, but they still have a lot to learn. And yes, these are live bullets, but nothing counts, you know? There's no win-loss column here.
Second down completion to Zach Sudfeld as he gets over midfield down near the 40-yard line. Finally brought down by 3 defenders. Brandon Hughes gets him, and we've got a first down situation for the Pats inside Eagle territory. 22-yard gain. Another name mentioned here. This time the tight end, Sudfeld, the 6'7" kid out of Nevada, is kind of that good athlete.
Well, that was just a submarine play. We run it all the time on the goal line. Usually he sneaks in the back of the offensive line, and great job of giving it to him and running after the catch. So this is a big kid. He doesn't have he has long strides, but I'm impressed with how he broke some tackles. We got some extra yardage.
Shane Vereen on the carry there. But getting back to Sudfeld, you and I have talked a lot about these tight ends here. How do you look at him? We saw Gronkowski. We've seen Hernandez. Where does Sudfeld fit into that mix as far as what you see of him and what he looks like?
I think he's a little bit of each of them. Yeah, he's not going to have the quickness that Hernandez has. I don't think anybody in the NFL is quite as big and physical as Gronkowski is. But what we've heard and what we've seen is that he fights when he's blocking. He knows how to get open. He's got really soft hands, and they've been throwing him the ball a lot. And more importantly, Tom Brady trusts him. We always hear, how do you succeed in this offense? Well, first part is knowing where to line up. And the second part is making sure you know where to sit and knowing where Tom wants you to sit. Josh McDaniels is going to tell you one thing, but Tom Brady will bring you aside and say, no, run it like this. You need to listen to what Tom Brady says. And right now, he's impressing everybody.
6'7", 260-pounder out of California. Reminds me of the kid we saw win 2 Super Bowls for the Patriots out of California, a kid by the name of Christian Fourier years back. And this kid has enthusiasm, something I'm sure Brady loves.
And remember, this guy spent 6 years in college with 2 medical red shirts, so he's had a hard road. And for him to be in this position to have this chance is huge for him.
Third down complete to Edelman, and a flag down on the play. He took a vicious hit there. Nice to see him back. Nate Allen got him good. Tom Brady loving it, but again, Edelman, nice to see him back too.
You know, Edelman is a consistent guy. You know, great job catching the ball. He's definitely not afraid. I mean, he doesn't. I don't know if you can really call this because he's not hitting him with his head. I don't see where the penalty lies in this situation. You know, as you watch it from this angle, doesn't lead with his head.
There is no foul or a hit on a defenseless receiver. The result of the play is the first down, New England.
What did you see in that? Why did you see that?
Well, one, he wasn't down yet. He was still fighting for yardage, and he didn't lead with his head, so there's really nothing you can call there. Remember, refs are getting their practice too, Rochi. Yep. They're still practicing. They need to get ready for the regular season also.
Guys, interesting thing there with Edelman catching the ball and actually lowering his crown outside of the box. That's the difficulty the officials have with this new rule. Are you going to call it on the defender who may or may not have led with the head, or the offensive player?
Little screen set up there, a little bit of dancing by Vereen. Gets about a 7-yard completion on the play.
What you see here is the player who is defending themselves. The officials often call this getting small. You're going into a crouch position, and the NFL now wants you to not lead with your head. Unfortunately, that's where God put humans' heads. So when a guy goes into that crouch, you're going to have an issue. Officials are going to have a discrepancy. They're going to have to make a call. You're watching one guy's head, you're watching the other guy's head. It's all happening at light speed. So ludicrous speed is difficult to officiate at, and that's the call before these guys under these new regulations.
Vereen on the carry. Casey Matthews with the tackle. Gets a first down. They keep the chains moving. You know, Shane Vereen, again, did a lot of good things last year. Can he be consistent? Andy Hart back at our Gillette Stadium studios. Can he be consistent? That's my question. What do you think?
That is certainly the question, but I think he can, and I think you're seeing some of his versatility on this drive. Obviously, Danny Woodhead could run a screen, he could run a draw, but I think you just saw more of a traditional handoff to Shane Vereen. I think he's a guy that you can do more with. You don't have to run into passing sets with him. I think you can run when the other team knows you're going to run, and then he can turn losses like that screen pass that wasn't very well blocked. He spins off and makes it into something when it could have easily been a play for a loss.
All right, so I jinxed Gostkowski on the field goal. I just said Dobson had money hands and he drops the ball. I'll leave it up to you guys to tell us what's going to happen next, but we get a second down situation here. But yeah, you look at Shane Vereen. He had some huge games. You go back to that Houston playoff game, 3 touchdowns, 41 yards rushing and 83 yards on the reception side. So he has that ability. And again, can he be consistent? Here's Mallett. Looking end zone, looking Dobson, and he does not catch it. Got bumped a little bit there. Let's go on to Steve Burton. Steve, your thoughts on Ryan Mallett?
Well, you know, the thing about Ryan Mallett, everybody talks about his arm, but you got to watch his footwork. When he was down on the 1-yard line, on his own 1-yard line, he panicked somewhat. And if you notice, when he's in the middle of the field, he's got more time to throw the ball, and he's more at ease. Watch his footwork. Most quarterbacks complete passes when they're balanced, and he's got to stay in balance. When he's in balance, he can throw it really well.
We asked him what he worked on after last season. He said that next step, mental mistakes, routes that he's comfortable with. Feels good about throwing to any route, but not there as he gets taken down. And out comes the field goal unit again for the Patriots. Vinny Curry got into Mallett.
You know, you talk about Steve was talking about the footwork, and you know, that is the key. I mean, he's obviously has a strong arm. We know that. But what happens when a quarterback uses his feet to balance himself better, he'll be more accurate. And that's the knock on it. We know he can throw it downfield. We know he can get it in a small window. What we want him to do is make those touch throws. What we want him to do is sit in the pocket, not get happy feet, and make a play.
He rights himself with the 34-yard field goal, and the Patriots go up again, up by 3 here on the Patriots Television Network. 5:45 to go in preseason game number 1 for the New England Patriots, leading 17-14 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Drive for the Patriots, 13 plays, 62 yards, 452. Gostkowski makes up for his mistake earlier. It's the 34-yard field goal as the Patriots take the lead.
You know, you can be content with the way things are going for Mallett. You'd like to see him complete those third down plays, and you got to remember, he's not going to get a lot of reps in the regular season. He's going to have to finish these drives.
And what's he talking about here with Josh McDaniels? We saw Tom Brady near him too. What are they saying as they come off the field?
They're looking at the cards, they're looking at the coverage, and right away they're saying, listen, what was your progression? What was your first key? Because they've already gone over this in practice and in meetings, and they practice this play, and there you go.
The kick takes Felix Jones out of the end zone. When we return, the Eagles have the ball. Back here in Philadelphia, coming up in a few minutes, our Geico halftime report. Steve Burton will lead our way. Ryan Mallett sits down with Jackie Britton. We'll have stats, highlights, analysis, and more. Analysis, a big word for what we do. We've got Christian Fourier here with us. Former Patriot tight end, Matt Chatham on the field, Andy Hart, Paul Perillo in our Gillette Stadium studio, Steve Burton as well. I'd like to analyze what's going on, what we're seeing on the field so far. Been a pretty entertaining preseason opener, I can tell you that, for Bill Belichick and his crew. 17-14 the lead, and we've got Matt Barkley out of USC, the third quarterback for the night for the Eagles, and immediately he throws, and he throws incomplete. No flag on the play for the Patriots, says Justin Green, the rookie, on the coverage.
Now, Marcus Forson is going to be one of those, that third down, third rotational guy in the defensive tackle position. Good job of getting upfield and, causing Matt Barkley to throw that ball a little earlier than he wanted to.
I know Matt Chatham has a lot of question marks. One of them is Forston. Matt, what do you want to see from him as we evolve here?
Well, he's a guy who's got a good break. He gets out of his stance quickly. He's a penetration guy. He uses his hands well. But he's not exactly a round hole square peg kind of guy. He can do a lot of things, and he doesn't do anything necessarily great. Oftentimes guys thrive in this system when they have that sort of skill set. So you're going to look to want to see him be a penetrator in certain downs and distances, be a guy that can press and play his responsibility in base defense, really be that old Jarvis Green, the Mike Wright, those old roles, Anthony Pleasant, that we've seen throughout the years be an extremely crucial role on this team and all of the roster building that inevitably has to happen.
Third down for the Eagles and Barkley. Good pressure by the Patriots. Pass, though, complete. Nice catch over the left side for the Philadelphia Eagles by Zach Ertz, and now they're going to call it incomplete.
Zach Ertz, big draft pick out of Stanford, and he's got Dane Fletcher on him. I mean, it was a great attempt by Ertz, but just can't pull it down. And these are these type of situations when you have a big tight end, one-on-one with an inside linebacker. Those are those situations where you got to come down with that ball. No real coverage there, but a good attempt.
Brad Wing on to punt for Philadelphia. Julian Edelman back to receive. High kick. Edelman catches it, immediately drops it. Has some running room, though. Takes it over the 40, near midfield. Still on his feet, now tripped up just near midfield, but the Patriots will take over. 1st and 10 with 4:39 left to go here in the first quarter. 17-14. Now, a kid like Forston, I think Matt Chatham, the question mark coming into the season, the offseason for the Patriots, why let Brandon Dedrick go? Why let Kyle Love go? And how does that fit in with what Forston and the other guys like Buchanan and company try to step in here and do?
Well, this is one of those interesting situations you often see. You don't know what you don't know. And I think we haven't gotten to see a lot of this guy, but know that he was on their practice squad all of last season. They got a long look at him. He was a guy with a high draft grade in his earlier years that kind of petered out a little bit and became an undrafted guy. He's got the skill set. He's got the motor. He's got the ability to make it happen. He's just got to be able to put it together week after week. Consistency is what it's all about.
Speaking of putting it together, look at LeGarrette Blount go for the Patriots. Down into the end zone. Wow. Welcome to New England. LeGarrette Blount, 51 yards. And I tell you, he's got one thing I can tell you, Christian, enthusiasm. He's been having fun so far with the Patriots. We saw it here in Philadelphia. Every time we were doing interviews, he was coming over and yapping. He's happy to have this opportunity and get out of Tampa Bay.
And you get the no block by Ryan Mallett, but he still gets his yardage otherwise. And this isn't really something most coaches want you to do. They don't want you going the wrong way, going back where you came from. But he does a great job of finding the creases, gets some blocks downfield, and obviously does a great job jumping in the end zone, finishing the play. I mean, Tampa let him go because they had Doug Martin, who was really doing a good job. So LeGarrette Blount was expendable. Fortunate for the Patriots, they were able to snatch him up, put him into the mix.
Well, he's got that smile. He'll just walk over to Bill and say, "I know it wasn't written that way, Coach, but got the job done." Pretty good night for LeGarrette Blount.
That's what you call an attaboy play. Ivan Fears is not. He's like, listen, great job. This is Ivan Fears right now. Hey, great job. I like the fact that you scored a touchdown, but do not do that again. Now, I want you to pay close attention. This is a great job by LeGarrette Blount. But watch Ryan Mallett. Oh, no, doesn't quite want to get his hands dirty on blocking anybody, but great job of finishing this play. He's a little faster than I thought he was going to be for such a big guy, such a physical back. Remember, this is the same guy that played in Chip Kelly's offense a couple years ago coming out of college. So he has that speed that you're looking for in the back, and he's obviously physical.
Well, LeGarrette Blount ran for 1,007 yards in 2010, but decreasing numbers, 781 and 11, and then 2012 just 151 yards as we saw Martin step in for Tampa. Let's go to our Gillette Stadium, guys. What do you think here about a kid like LeGarrette Blount?
Well, it's interesting, and Chip Kelly was talking about him at Oregon, and it was back in September of 2009. Blount was involved in an altercation on the field against Boise State. He punched an opposing player, got suspended. Talent has never been an issue with this guy. We know LeGarrette Blount can run the football. Couple of things. One was his attitude, and two was holding on to the football. But surprising thing to me, Andy, is to see a guy this size be able to finish off a run like that. And he was able to do that in Tampa Bay as well. So it's going to be an interesting depth chart at the running back position.
Yeah, I do think it's impressive that he was able to finish that run. And you look back in Tampa, he had a high yards per carry average in his 1,000-yard season, and he had 50-yard type runs, 50-yard touchdowns. So this is a guy, even though we kind of pigeonhole him as a big back, he can finish it too.
The last 50-yard run we saw in a regular season game for the Patriots was Sammy Morris back in 2009. So a little bit of nice things to see from Blount. Here goes Barkley with the carry for Philadelphia. Get about 8 yards on the play.
Now, Matt Barkley obviously has never run this type of offense in high school, at Mater Dei High School in California, or in college at USC. But what Chip Kelly says is you don't really need your quarterback to be a runner, because he's not. What he is he's a passer. He's a pocket passer. So to see him run for the first time in a preseason game tells you that Chip Kelly means what he says.
False start. Offense, number 80. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Well, we talk about Chip Kelly and LeGarrette Blount. Getting back to Blount, we saw Danny Woodhead go here in this offseason, and a lot of people shaking their heads at that. You look at Vereen, you look at Ridley. If Blount can do what he just did there, how versatile and how good can this running back unit be?
Well, I don't think you can count on plays like that, first of all. Those plays don't really happen that much. What you're going to get from LeGarrette Blount is a first and second down back. We don't know if he can pass protect. We don't know how good he is at that and how well his feet are. We do know that he's willing. We do know that he doesn't shy away from contact. He encourages it, and he doesn't mind being the hammer every now and then. But the most important thing is to get those positive yards on first and second down.
Well, the thing that I took away talking with him this week in practice, he's just real happy to be here and have this opportunity, and he doesn't seem to want to let it go. Very happy to be part of this Patriots organization as the Eagles turn the ball over here on downs, and they'll be forced to punt. But the one thing you notice, again, is that infectious smile. He's got a good attitude. He seems happy. Him and Aqib Talib were laughing and joking after practice this week. So maybe a little bit of that energy, that infectiousness, gets them over what was a tough offseason, and they seem to be out there enjoying themselves playing the game they love.
Well, he can play. I mean, this isn't a guy that doesn't have any skill. Like the guys are saying, it was more of his attitude. He is another guy that had a high draft grade going into his senior year, but obviously got suspended and had to take some time off.
Brad Wing with the punt, Edelman with the return for the Patriots as they'll take over 1st and 10. Brent Selleck with the stop. We've got a flag down on the play. Let's find out exactly what happened on this one.
running into the kicker. Defense, number 34. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Hey guys, what you have here is a special teams penalty in the second quarter at a time where guys are earning jobs. This is the last thing that you want to do, and I unfortunately can tell you that I've been there as a young guy. Getting a penalty is the fastest way to get your name written down the row. So you want to play smart, you want to play hard, they want to see your aggressiveness, they want to see how you tackle and play live. But in this particular organization, as much as any other, you got to play smart or you won't have a role.
But Matt, I don't think on this play, and again, we'll take a look at the replay, it didn't look like much of a penalty here, and I think Bill Belichick was arguing that to the officials too.
Yeah, so he may get the pass. Now, Bill's a smart guy. He'll go back and review the video with you, but you're always going to err on the side of caution in the instance of personal fouls, penalties that cost your team 10 yards, especially situationally. That was the important point there. You're backed up. There's no reason to run into the kicker.
Felix,
get it off.
Felix Jones with the carry, Jamie Collins with the tackle. I think what we found out there, Christian, is that Matt still lives in fear of Bill Belichick as a special teamer.
Yes, and he still has nightmares of making those. It's not. The worst part isn't the actual act of creating the penalty. It's the actual walk of shame to the sideline, knowing that Belichick is looking for you, and you don't quite want to make eye contact, yet you know you have to explain yourself. So you're kind of in a lose-lose situation.
Cheering, waiting for that PA announcer to announce the guy's number, and you're hoping it's not you.
Now they've done this blitz a couple times here with Jamie Collins, sitting up on the slot and then coming in late. Doesn't get his hands on the ball, but he definitely rushes Matt Barkley.
Damaris Johnson with the reception. It'll be 1st and 10 for Philadelphia. Barkley throws the ball outside to the right, and nice stop there by Marquise Cole. No gain to Zach Ertz as we approach the 2-minute warning. See if they can get a snap off again. The hurry-up offense here. And they do. Barkley pressured, gets away, fires the ball out of bounds, incomplete. Good pressure there by New England. Dane Fletcher coming on the side as the Patriots defense looks to stop the Eagles offense. We got 2 minutes to go in an eventful first half. Patriots by 10. Well, nice to see Robert Kraft here in attendance tonight as the Patriots open up their preseason in Philadelphia with a 10-point lead. 2-minute warning. And a nice celebration here of this organization. 20 years of ownership for Robert Kraft and his family. And again, you go back to those, I always think about those 20 years and just how close this team was leaving Foxborough, leaving Massachusetts. And he came in as that fan, bought it, and look at what they've done.
He's done a great job, not only with this team, but just helping the entire league. He's one of those guys that knows everybody on the team, knows where everybody's from, makes himself available if you need to talk to him. And I think he loves what he does. He loves owning this team, where most owners, I won't say most, but a majority of the owners aren't as involved as he is. And if you would go talk to him, he would be able to tell you about what's going on with the team. He could break down plays. He could let you know everything that's going on. It's a testament to him and his love for the game.
Incomplete pass there, Logan Ryan with the coverage, so the Eagles are forced to punt. And Edelman jumps up to get it at the 20-yard line. And he'll get a couple of yards near the 25 where the Pats will take over with 1:38 left to go here in the first half, up by 10. Getting back to Robert Kraft, how about this? In Patriots history, before Robert Kraft, the Pats had 34 seasons of football and 225 wins. 34 seasons, 225 wins. With Robert Kraft and his family, 19 seasons and the same amount, 225 wins. So
that is, you got number 12 down there. That always helps. You had a great coach, brought in a bunch of great players, great coaches, great staff. This first-class organization from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's been Kraft, Belichick, Brady all the way through. And they've been able to do great things so far. Incomplete pass there by Ryan Mallett. Something you don't want to see from him as he tries to get that 2-minute drill going here for the Patriots. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Steve Burton will be your host. Ryan Mallett, the man you're seeing here, sit down with Jackie Britton for an interview, get his thoughts on so far what he's done in preseason camp. Stats, highlights, analysis, and more, all coming up at halftime, courtesy of Geico. 1:35 left to go here in the first half. 2nd down and 10. Mallett Fires over the middle behind Edelman. He makes the nice catch, gets it out near the 45-yard line. That wasn't a great throw by Mallett, who's down and hurt. Edelman makes the nice catch, but you don't like to see that anytime, anywhere, especially in preseason.
Well, we wanted him to stay in the pocket. We wanted him to stand in there and take a shot, and he took one right there, got the ball to Edelman, and that's what your quarterback's got to be tough, and you got to be able to throw it when you know you're going to get hit. I don't know if he got hit. It looks like he got hit right in the chest.
Yeah, up near the chin and the head. He's a little shaken up as he walks off the field, and Tim Tebow warms up.
He'll be back. This is very tough football player. Took a lot of shots in college in the SEC. Always got up. Always came back into play. What I like the fact is that he stayed in the pocket. Feels the pressure. This is what you want your quarterback to do. You know you're going to get shot. Stand there and deliver it.
Damian Square with the hit. So Mallett will sit down. Hopefully he'll come back okay. Really was looking forward to this opportunity. You heard the crowd roar a little bit here. Why? Because Tebow mania exists still around the country. Tim Tebow in at quarterback for the Patriots. Our first look at him in this preseason. First play, has time, throws it incomplete near the sideline, intended for Aaron Dobson. And Christian, to be honest with you, that's what we've seen from Tim Tebow in training camp. You and I have been watching these practices. He takes a little bit, maybe too much time to find that open guy.
Well, I think he's kind of fighting himself a little bit sometimes. He doesn't want to run, but at the same time, that might be his best option in that situation. But he's trying to be a better passer, trying to get into the playbook and make sure he knows what to do. But his natural tendency is to take off and run.
Tebow. Nice pass just off the hands of Sudfeld. That was a good throw. That's what we've seen from Tebow, Christian. We'll see him struggle in some reads and his progressions, and then we'll see him bounce back and make a nice throw.
Well, what I like is that he's throwing it inside, and this is where he throws it best. Finishes his throw. I think he could have given him a better chance to catch that ball. It was kind of down and away, but he's making the effort.
Guys, this is something we've seen Tim do in camp actually quite well. When it's a tempo throw, when it's a quick read, one look, he throws the ball and generally puts it on. And the problems we've seen is when it's an extended pocket. When he's got to sit back there for 3, 4, 5, and 6 seconds, he often gets caught in that tunnel.
Third down.
You just see this now.
Yeah, he couldn't throw anywhere that time. He had no time. Vinnie Curry, Jake Knott combined to knock him down on the third down play, and it's a big loss. And the Patriots will be forced to punt in a 4th and 20 situation.
And more importantly, it's a pre-snap read. You got to know that you have a blitz coming, so you got to go find who your go-to receiver is. Don't second guess yourself. Take your drop, get rid of the football. Because this is what happens. You hold on to the ball, you want to run around a little bit. You can do that in college, but in the NFL, guys are just as fast. And that's what Josh McDaniel is telling you. Listen, pre-snap read, snapping his fingers. Listen, you got to see it quicker. You got to see it sooner. Don't second guess yourself. Let your receivers do the work for you. They're getting paid also. Take your drops, throw that ball into them, let them make a play.
Looks like you read lips pretty well right there.
I do. I'd work for the FBI if I needed to.
Looks like Ryan Mallett is in better spirits there, which is good to see. We'll have much more on Mallett and Tebow coming up in our second half. Ryan Allen in to kick for the Patriots in the 4th down situation. Maris Johnson back deep with 1:08 left to go here in the first half. Preseason game number 1, Patriots up by 10. High booming kick from Allen, taken at the 9 by Maris. Look at him go. He finds an opening and he has got some running room here. Ryan Allen, the lone guy, trying to chase him and does take him out of bounds, but nice return there for the Philadelphia Eagles to Maris Johnson.
Yeah. Well, guys, Ryan Allen is in a camp battle here with Zoltan Mesko. Zoltan's been a go-to guy here for several years, but Allen was one of the highly accoladed guys coming out of college, and he kicked a bomb there. Sometimes as a young second or third group of punt team in, the big long ball is a little bit tougher to cover. You got to cover more space. You got to cover 50 yards. The hang time might not be there. What Allen did well, though, is he stayed with the play. They always like it when you bail him out with a tackle.
57-yard punt, 61-yard return by Johnson, and it's 1st and 10 for Barkley and company off the hands of Felix Jones, and we've got a flag on the play.
pass interference, offense, number 11 with a push-off. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
So there's the call. Offensive interference on Russell Shepard. And with 47 seconds to go, the Eagles will try it again. Barkley trying to screen pass, incomplete, nearly picked off by Marquise Cole. And it'll be second and long. In this situation, we saw a lot of 2-minute offense. We've talked a lot about that, Christian, but 2-minute defense. What are these guys trying to do here? And, again, a lot of these guys, what are they trying to do to impress their coach and make this football team?
Well, this is situational football. These are the drills that these guys work on throughout training camp. And when you get a chance like this to be in this position, you want to make sure you do the right thing. So obviously the first key, keep everything in front of you. You don't want to give up big, long bombs. So they're going to stay cover 2. Make them throw it to the outside. Make them earn it. Don't give up that little dink play on the inside and let the back run. And you got to be a sure tackler. You got to make sure that when you do get a chance to wrap somebody up and bring them down, that you don't let them run free.
Well, Matt Chatham, a lot of guys fighting for jobs, as I mentioned out here. What are you seeing from down there when you look at these guys and what they're trying to do?
Well, we're getting a nice look at last year's third-round pick, Jake Beckett, and this year's seventh-round pick, Michael Buchanan of Illinois. Nice pass break up there. Ball was wide. But what's great about this is you get two guys who are now playing situational football. Yes, you want to get to the quarterback. You want to be that rabid dog they talk about, but you don't want to be up the field past the quarterback and allow lanes. So there is a little bit of intelligence. There is a little bit of awareness that goes into pass ranging at this point. So go get that quarterback, but do not go up the field and allow him to step up into a soft pocket.
Alex Henry with a 48-yard field goal attempt. Justin Green being talked to by Matt Patricia there. He was in on the coverage with Daron Harmon, which fell incomplete. Bad snap, and the ball is loose, and the Patriots pop it up, and it's picked up, but the whistle blew as Donnie Jones, the holder, had a tough time with the snap there. Logan Ryan tried to return it for a touchdown, but no go. The Patriots will take over 1st and 10 with 10 seconds left to go. Matt?
Well, guys, what we see here is the ultimate ball handling issue. This is the game operation stuff that drives special teams coordinators nuts. You just want to see a clean operation. I spend so much time of your day as a special teams guy, as a guy who's a holder and a guy who's a punter, repping that over and over and over again on the sideline while the rest of the guys get hot and sweaty. So you don't want to see that ball on the ground. You certainly don't want to see a turnover right before halftime, because this could be points. The Patriots get a cheap one here. They spike the ball, and they're going for 3. So the Eagles special teams coordinator, first-year guy, is probably a little bit hot and bothered right now.
We've talked a lot about situations. That ball's batted there on first down, the pass by Tebow, but this is one of those got to have it situations here for the Patriots as they try to put some points on the board, and they've been working. We saw them work on this a lot in the last 3 days of practice.
Well, you got 6 seconds left, and you want to try at least to get into field goal range. So you got to throw it downfield, maybe to the outside. We have timeouts left, so you can even throw it in the middle of the field. But what you don't want to do for Tim Tebow is chew up a bunch of time.
Well, we've seen this work on this too. If they go with Tebow in the Hail Mary here, watch for one of these guys to jump up like a Sudfeld in the end zone and leap to try to make a catch if they get there. Instead, they drop it off. I'm 0 for 3 for predictions, and Washington takes the ball into Eagle territory and down at the 40-yard line, as that will wind things down in the first half. So second half promised no predictions as to what they might do. We'll stick with the score. In the meantime, we've reached halftime with the score. Pats 24-14. Stay tuned for Steve Burton and the Geico halftime report coming up after these messages. Here in the city of brotherly love, Patriots leading 24-14. Lots of love so far for New England's offense. Let's go back downstairs. Steve Burton. Steve?
Hi, Dan. Thank you very much. Joining me now is Patriot head coach Bill Belichick. And, Bill, just your thoughts on the first half so far?
Competitive half. Did some good things, did some things we got to work on. We'll see how it goes here. A lot of guys are getting a lot of playing time.
You mentioned competition. It has been a competitive first half. You also got competition in running back. Your running backs have been playing pretty well so far, from Vereen to LeGarrette Blount to Stephen Ridley.
All right, well, we've had our moments. We'll see how it goes here. We got a long way to go.
Offensive line stepping up as well.
Same thing. We had a long way to go.
Oh, all right, Coach. Good luck to
thanks,
you.
Steve. All right, thank you.
All right, Patriots end up leading by a score 24-14. We start to the third quarter. Let's go back upstairs to Dan Roach and Christian for you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Yeah, Bill Belichick, you can tell already in season mode, not preseason mode, ready to move on and get some things done here as far as his team is concerned. Not satisfied with anything so far.
Well, I mean, you said it, a lot of guys are going to get a lot of playing time. There's going to be a lot of reps. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. The running game has been a point of emphasis, obviously, with all the backs that they have in camp. There's some couple spots on the offensive line, too. And defensively, I think you want to see these guys get after the quarterback a little bit, get some 3-and-outs, give themselves a break. And special teams also, I mean, everybody is on point right now. Everybody needs to realize that this is a big opportunity. Everybody's watching them, and to finish this game regardless of whether it's preseason or regular season.
And before we look ahead to the second half, let's look back on the first half. Our NRG stats of the first half, and take a look. Patriots doing a nice job. 334 total yards. Passing, rushing, evenly. Good job. And time of possession right there as well. So Brady, 7 of 8, 65 and a touchdown. Mallett, 9 of 18, 97 yards. Ridley, 92 yards and a touchdown as well. Let's get outstairs to Matt Chatham.
Guys, in this second half, one of the things I'm going to be looking at is we've got young players in the field. This is inevitably what happens in the second half of these preseason games. We've got a young guy that hasn't been spoken about much, a guy named Steve Baharnis. Steve is a linebacker, an athletic guy, kind of in the mold of Tracy White, who's no longer with the franchise. So he's a guy who didn't have the measurables coming out of college, but he's got a nose for the ball. We've seen him around the ball a lot in these couple weeks of practice, so we're going to keep our eye on Steve and a lot of these other young guys who may have the gamer skills, which is what we're doing now, and not practice. So some of these names might start to creep up that you haven't heard much of in the last couple weeks.
All right, let's go back to, thank you very much, Matt. Let's go back to Gillette Stadium and find out what's trending on Twitter. We say hello to Andy Hart, Paul Perillo.
Well, everybody's talking about Tim Tebow, guys. It's all Tebow all the time, and most people want to know where this guy fits in. Is he going to be strictly a quarterback? That's really all we've seen so far in training camp. That's what we're seeing, obviously, tonight since Mallett's gone out of the game. I think we're going to see a lot more of him in the second half.
Yeah, we saw him obviously earlier than we expected to, and the role could change depending on what Mallett's status is. Obviously, this is a great opportunity for him, maybe one he didn't expect to get tonight.
Gostkowski kicks the ball out of bounds. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Philadelphia Eagles. And for any of you Muppet fans out there, we've nicely nicknamed our gentlemen back in our Gillette Stadium studios Statler and Waldorf as they give us their opinions throughout the preseason here.
The big question is who's who?
Yeah.
Which
I got to think.
You call that play-by-play?
I think Paul is Statler. He's got that edge to him. All right. All in jest, folks. We're just having some fun here, watching some football. That's what it's all about. It's nice to have the game back. All right, 1st and 10. Barkley looking far over the outstretched hands of Ertz. The kid out of Stanford, incomplete on the coverage for the New England Patriots. Dane Fletcher, as well as Tavon Wilson, make that James Casey the incompletion too. I love Zach Ertz, by the way. He's another guy. I love.
You just like saying Zach Ertz.
I watched him play at Stanford a lot. Pac-12, just a good, I think, prospect here, and can do a lot of damage
Very
in the NFL.
Physical, tight end, big tight end, excellent downfield speed, and really soft hands for a big physical guy.
Felix Jones on the carry for the Philadelphia Eagles. As the Patriots defense, a lot of guys will start to rotate in, Christian. Now, back at home, you're sitting there saying, okay, who are some of these guys? We'll let you know. But also, how important is this to all of these guys that are in this game right now? I mean, it's again, I don't know if they can understand. Maybe you can emphasize a little bit what it means to them.
Well, take a guy like Dane Fletcher, a guy that got hurt last year during the preseason. He's been out the whole year. He hasn't had an opportunity to do anything, and it ended so rough for him last year after all the work he put into. He's put a whole year of work to get to this point to show that he belongs on this team. He's a special teams guy. He's a backup linebacker. So he's going to have to do as much as possible to stay on the field.
Jake Beckett with the stop there, the sack. Let's go down to Matt Chatham. Matt, your thoughts on Dane Fletcher?
Well, one of the things we've seen from Dane since he's walked in these doors is he has a nose for the ball. He's a gamer. I think he's another guy who doesn't necessarily have the measurables, but you always see him around the football. He's a really good addition to this team, and he's going to be great to have out there. That group out there now with Steve Baharnis and Fletcher is two guys with a really good nose for the ball, guys who tempo the ball in this sort of read option offense. They're never going to overrun plays. They're not going to run down the fastest guy on the field, but they're not going to take themselves other plays either. So keep an eye on the two of those guys. These are the kind of games in these second quarter halves of preseason games where a guy racks up 10, 15 tackles because he's just more competent at understanding the schemes he's seen in front of him that a lot of the younger guys around him aren't.
Hey, Matt, your years making your name with special teams and everything else, second half, the importance of it, and as you got older, what kind of things were you trying to tell these guys like Dane Fletcher when it comes to trying to make this football team?
Well, Dane's had a few turns around. He's not a rookie, so I think Dane's actually one of those guys that's more of an early veteran. He's veteran-esque. You know, he's coming in. He knows a few of the tricks of the trade. He knows he's been hurt. He certainly wants to feel that comfort level out there again. But he can also take advantage of some of the younger guys that don't know the little tricks. And then special teams is really all about that. Understanding if you got a guy across from you with a loose jersey that was dumb enough not to tape the thing down, put those vice handle grips on him and don't let him off the line. All the little things where you can get a pre-snap read because you got a bunch of rookies running on the field that are really just trying to find the football. You can get the read that other guys can't. So he has that advantage. Has provided his health is there. He's a guy that can really take advantage.
All right, Ryan Mallett on the sidelines to start after taking the hit at the end of that first half. Tim Tebow comes in. This is what everybody wants to see. Hands it off twice now for the second time to LeGarrette Blount as the Patriots come out like they did in the first series of the second half and run the football. And now we're in a third and situation here. What are we looking for here in this situation, Christian, from Tim Tebow at 3rd and 6?
Well, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you know you can rattle Tim Tebow. You know if you kind of get around him, he's going to kind of get off his first read and either just throw the ball away or he's going to start to run. And that's where he gets into trouble. It's 3rd down. You want to see him make his pre-snap read, check out the defense, find his first key, and get rid of the football.
Tebow attempted only 8 passes last year for the New York Jets. Before that with Denver, put out some outstanding numbers such as wins. He decides to keep it himself and take the ball over at midfield, gets down near the 40-yard line. That's what Tebow can do well, as he took 5 guys to bring him down. And the one thing maybe you don't notice until you see him on the field is how big a kid Tim Tebow is.
And again, this is part of the tools that he has that he excels at. You know, this is a called play, a direct snap to him where he's has an extra blocker. And it's all about him being an athlete. This is what he did when he was in college, and this is what helped him out when he was in Denver when they made that great playoff run. But again, he's moving the chains, and that's the most important part. He's got a new, fresh set of downs, and you can see what he can get more opportunities.
12 yards on the pickup. Tebow, like he had Sudfeld, didn't get it to him, and he gets sacked because of it.
Well, this is the biggest problem right here. So you have Sudfeld who runs a naked route, and he needs to get rid of the ball in a hurry. You see, he waited too long to throw that ball. You got Dobson going downfield, who's wide open, but he's not even looking at Dobson. He's looking at Sudfeld coming into your screen right there. Right then and there, he's got to get rid of the ball. He holds on to it too long. Give Sudfeld a chance to catch the ball. It's better than taking a sack.
You know, again, from my naked eye, it looked like Sudfeld was open on the play. We saw Dobson was open. Those are the things we're seeing, the inconsistencies out of Tim Tebow, and now it's a 2nd and long situation. Hurried, gets the ball off, though, nicely to Brandon Bolden, and he's got some room all the way down near the 30-yard line, and he'll get that first down, so they make a play. And one thing we've noticed, Christian, is they've tried to keep things simple for Tim Tebow, too. That type of play right there seems to work well when he goes right to it and does his job.
You know, great call by Josh McDaniels, you know, throwing the screen. Philadelphia coming upfield does a great job of making that throw. Bolden using his blocks, getting upfield, looking for that first down pylon, and giving him a new, fresh set of downs, and to give Tebow another opportunity.
Tompkins in motion. Give to Blount over the 30, down to 25. Leaps over defender, 20-15. Look at LeGarrette Blount.
I think what people don't realize with LeGarrette Blount, if you go in and look at some highlights for him, he's jumping over people. He's sidestepping people. He's got great lateral movement. I had no idea he was this athletic. I had no idea he had this good of a change of direction, an ability to get upfield. Definitely a plus as far as being successful.
14 yards on the carry there. 7 attempts, 81 yards now for Blount and a touchdown. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line of the Eagles. Just underway here, 3rd quarter. Patriots by 10, and Tebow leading the offense. Gives it again to LeBlanc. Look at him go. Shows some speed. Gets down near the pylon. Did he get in? Looks like no. It'll be just short of the goal line. But again, some athleticism there from LeGarrette Blount.
A great job of extending the hand, trying to get it in there. I think it's going to be down right at the 1. It's going to be a great goal line opportunity for the Patriots. But the lateral ability he showed right there where the hole kind of closed up and he kicked it outside. He was able to get outside of the defenders and get upfield.
First and goal at the 1-yard line for Tebow and Blunt and company. Got to give it to Blunt. He needs that touchdown. Smells the goal line, gets the goal line, and the Patriots extend their lead to 16 points.
That was a great series, a great job by offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, dialing up the right plays to that complement Tim Tebow. Another great job by the front side offensive line, making that opening for him just to kind of pile it in there. He didn't even get contested.
We came here talking about Tim Tebow and excited to see him, but the star clearly tonight, Brady and LeGarrette Blunt.
Yeah, I mean, you want to protect your quarterback, give yourself a strong running game, and you'll give yourself a great opportunity. Throws a screen, throws a draw. Great job.
Extra point is good. The Patriots by 17. And one of the big stories, the big guy, LeGarrette Blunt, running right at you and running into the end zone. Well, you're looking at one of the stars of the night for the Patriots. LeGarrette Blunt is having a big night on that play, on that drive. 8 attempts, 57 yards, and 4 minutes and 24 seconds for the touchdown. Blunt on that drive, 5 for 34 and a touchdown. So a lot of legs there for LeGarrette Blunt, doing a nice job. And the Patriots have themselves a big lead over the Eagles here early in the third quarter.
And all we did was all week is see them throw the ball. And now you're seeing a new added addition. LeGarrette Blunt just really showing how strong and physical he is, and surprisingly how fast he is. Because, I mean, one play where he goes back the other way and makes something happen and scores a touchdown and goes inside, you get those tough yardage. Usually those inside runs are just for one guy, your big guy. Now you know that he can do both.
Kick goes out of bounds.
Great job by the Patriots rushing this up in LeGarrette Blunt. We'll be right back to Lincoln Financial Field right after this.
Patriots with a 17-point lead early in the third quarter here at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Ryan Mallett diagnosed with a head injury, questionable return, and you don't like to see that anytime, especially early on here for a kid who's got a lot on the line here as far as trying to, prove himself as that backup quarterback, not only to the Patriots but around the league.
Yeah, and he didn't necessarily get hit in the head. It seemed like it was more of a whiplash situation. But, you got to err on the side of caution. You don't want to take any chances. He looks fine. If he could go on, I'm sure he would, but they got to make sure they go through the steps and make sure he's fine.
Tim Tebow responded with the drive after taking over there. Eagles have the ball to start off their drive. Felix Jones with the carry. Gets about 5 yards. Jamie Collins on the stop for New England.
Well, here's Jamie Collins on the edge. We've been talking about him all game.
Yeah, guys, it's interesting here seeing Jamie Collins do a role that we may not see him do during the season, but this often happens for guys in the second quarter or in the second half of these preseason games. Jamie Collins is sort of playing the role that you'll often see Chandler in, or maybe Rob Ninkovich. He may not get those reps necessarily when the season comes, but this is an opportunity to show that you're competent in that role in the event that something happens with those kind of guys.
Okay. Flag down, completion.
Outside, defense, number 58, line them in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. The results of the play is the first down.
And to Matt's point, but again, this is a guy that he needs to be in all these different positions.
He does.
They need to find out what he can do.
Right.
He's been lining up on the slot. He's been blitzing late. He's athletic. We know he's versatile. We know he can play multiple positions.
And here's the challenge for this guy. He may not have practiced this portion a lot. We've seen him in other roles, and oftentimes it's, hey, throw it against the wall, see how he reacts to adversity, see how he reacts to something he's not practiced a lot. Is he a guy we can rely on the fly? Is a guy that, during a practice week as a backup player, you may get maybe a dozen reps at a particular role you're going to have to go execute in the game. So can we throw him in there? It's something he doesn't do a ton of, and it's a little bit new for him, different than what he did at Southern Miss. Go in, not make mistakes, and play his role well.
How long does it take him? Let's start with Matt. How long does it take him to get comfortable having to do what he's trying to do here as a Patriot as opposed to college?
Well, at college at Southern Miss, he had his hand on the ground. So we all know the story of Jamie as a guy who actually has sort of a background as a safety. He's moved forward. He's come sort of top down on the defense, and that often happens with guys. They sort of grow into their bodies. But it's nice to have that athletic back of the defense kind of body and base. So you're seeing a guy who has gone from playing the back end to then playing with his hand down late in college to now having the ability to stand up and do both here. So I think that helps the Patriots. He can be a coverage guy. Maybe he's a rusher. I don't know if that's really the role he'll have here, but he's really helpful to sort of fill in that spot with the Roman Pfeiffer kind of role. And I think he'll really be good in that sort of vein.
Another flag down on the play.
But at the same time,
let's get this sorted out.
Holding, offense, number 61. That penalty is declined.
Marcus
the result
Bernard
of the play
on the other side.
Third down.
Making some moves as well. Is a guy we need to talk about a little more, guys.
Second and long.
Okay, guys. Bernard here. We're seeing a little bit of number 58. You know, I've got an affinity for that number. But Marcus is getting an opportunity on the other side. A guy with a really interesting story from Cleveland that had an accident, had some issues off the field. Now he's getting a second chance. He's wild. He's up the field. He's lined up off sides once, but he's really pressing that right tackle. So keep an eye on him as well. And Jake Beckett, who's now in again. So
third and 20. Complete. About 22 yards on the play.
Interesting shot there, guy, of the receiver. This is that new crown of the helmet rule. I'm not certain how I would handle it, Christian. You may have a little bit different insight on this, but the receiver catches the ball, realizes he's needing to go down. He goes into that crouch position. It's the crown that you see. There's no way to not do that. Clearly, he's outside the box. How do you make that call? How do you know which crown you're going to throw the flag on if you do? Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they stick in their pocket and realize it's a silly rule. But that shows you in that scenario how difficult that is to sort of actually officiate in real time.
First down for the Eagles. Trying to get near midfield.
Gotcha.
Felix Jones with the carry. And Jamie Collins with the stop. So we're seeing a lot of these players trying to mix in and make an impression. What we talk about what the players try to do. Christian, let's start with you, then down to Matt. What are the coaches looking for from these guys here?
Well, first of all, you got to make sure everybody lines up right, and that's the most important thing. And then you got to make sure that who are the guys that can be disruptive. I mean, who are the guys that can make a difference at their particular position. It's not going to be perfect. You guys are all learning just like everybody else is, but based on what they're asking them to do, how close are they coming to that?
Yeah, Christian makes a great point. I mean, I think they want to see you do the right thing first and foremost, because a lot of this is a decision whether or not to be able to use a guy for depth with other guys in the event that they have problems. So they want to see you line up well. They want to see you not make mistakes. They want to see your football skills that they drafted you for in the first place.
Great pressure on Barkley, and Logan Ryan had the ball right in his hands. It couldn't come up with the interception, but good pressure on that third down situation there from the Patriots.
Yeah, Logan Ryan is another draft choice that the Patriots brought in here. This guy loves the game of football. He's a hard worker. He's a great student. And he's not afraid to put his nose in there in run support. This is an area that he excels in. He doesn't shy away from contact and does not, and isn't afraid to just kind of make things happen.
We're getting
Brad Wing on the punt. Leon Washington back to get it. Doesn't go near him. It goes out of bounds at about the 21-yard line, where the Patriots will take over on first down. When we come back, Tim Tebow and the offense. Patriots by 17, midway through the third quarter. Tim Tebow about to lead the offense. Let's go back to Statler, Paul Perillo, and Andy Hart. Waldorf from the Muppet fame in our Gillette Stadium studios. Guys, what's going on Twitter?
Still a lot of Tim Tebow stuff, and really the quarterback position in general. But what you've seen from Tebow, and Nick talks about it right here, he's never going to give up. And it almost sounds like a Rick Astley song here. He's always never going to desert you. He's going to run around. He's going to make plays. It's not going to look pretty a lot of the times. And so far, it hasn't looked pretty. It hasn't looked pretty in training camp, and it certainly hasn't been all that effective on the field. But you're going to see him just squirt through the pocket, find a way to get a first down on a 3rd and 7. Maybe the next play he's going to take a sack, but he's going to make some plays too.
It's also not the Patriots' offense, and I think that's the interesting thing you look at is they're already trending toward what the Broncos did, and that's let Tebow run draws, let him line up in the pistol, let him run the option. And sure, if you get a screen pass that a guy pops for 20 yards, and then you get some big runs from LeGarrette Blount, you put together a nice drive. But can he make the throws you need in the Patriots' offense to win games? I still have my questions based on training camp and based on what I've seen tonight.
Well, that leads us to the question is where is this experiment going here with Tim Tebow? Is he a guy that is going to make the team and be the third quarterback? And if so, would we ever see the quarterback with the Denver Broncos, who had that electrifying, defeat of Pittsburgh with the overtime throw? Or is it the guy that struggled with the Jets last year and threw only 8 passes? Where are we finding that? And I guess, why are we seeing this with Bill Belichick and the opportunity here to Tebow?
Well, I think if you look, Josh McDaniels drafted Tim Tebow. And before he had a chance to really complete the job, he had to leave. And John Fox comes in. And that was a whole mess. And finally they said, listen, Broncos weren't doing anything. They gave the job to Tim Tebow. But if you're going to have Tim Tebow on your team, if you're going to have him as your backup quarterback, you have to put in a bunch of, like a Tim Tebow package. Because you don't try to put him in the Tom Brady role. That's not the type of quarterback he is. And Matt talks about a lot of these players who are gamers. He's notorious for being a bad practice guy, but being a great game time guy.
Well, Matt, again, I go with what Christian's saying, the inconsistencies here. Malik got banged up a little bit there. Is Tim Tebow a guy that, hey, they're going to keep as that third quarterback, but could elevate if there are injuries here? And is he that good in your mind?
Well, you have to if you're going to carry 3. I mean, I think the point's relatively simple, Dan. If they're going to carry 3 and there's going to be issues, that's going to have to be Tim, because you're not going to be able to go 4 preseason games and reintegrate a guy. So they're certainly giving him a long, hard look. The thing that's a little bit interesting to me here is look at the young guys around him. Look at these offensive linemen who are essentially running different plays than what their other teammates are in the first group. It's got to be a little bit of stress on them to say, hey, we're in for the Tim Tebow plays. Now, in the event that there was something horrible to happen in front of one of those quarterbacks and Tim was in, now you got Logan Mankins pulling around. Now you have Nate Solder out in space doing some of the pistol read option stuff. Does it translate? Does it carry over? Or they asked Tim to do more of the traditional things? I think it's an interesting question, and it's something they'll have to address in-house.
But what Tim Tebow's going to have to do, and this is what he struggled with last year and the year before, is that when it's time to throw the ball, when they know you're going to throw it, he has to be able to complete that pass
and get it out of his hands.
And get it out of his hands, because they're going to stack the box. They're going to stop the run. And that's the most important thing if you're a defense with Tim Tebow. Okay, then you're going to have man-to-man coverage on the outside. You're going to have mismatches, and those guys got to win. And he's got to be able to get that ball to him.
Well, the Patriots are now over 400 yards of total offense tonight, so they're moving the football and doing things well. Tebow, 3 rushes for 31 yards. He's moving his offense as he avoids the rush here and finds the open receiver down at the 40-yard line and gets another first down. So, it's the whole Tebow dilemma here. Is Kamar Aiken on the receptions for 15 yards? It's the whole Tebow dilemma here is, they're changing their offense for this guy.
Well, I don't know if they're changing the offense, Dan. They're just adding some things to it. I mean, this is just like a receiver or a back. Shane Vereen has a package that he's going to go in. He's going to be that third down guy. He's going to be flexed out every now and then. The blocking schemes are not that crazy enough for them to really throw out their whole playbook. I mean, this is still a power running team. It's even better because you have an extra blocker. Where he gets into trouble is when he doesn't know what he's doing pre-snap.
Well, it looked like a little miscommunication there as far as that's concerned. Another thought here that in watching these guys, we're going to see early on a lot of teams like E.J. Manuel, possibility with the Buffalo Bills, Geno Smith with the New York Jets. Is Tim Tebow here to give the defense of the Patriots a look of the read option? Is that possibly a thinking of Bill Belichick? Because he knows these opponents are ahead early in the season.
I don't think that has anything to do with it, because you can get a backup wide receiver or another tailback to play that Wildcat-esque read option guy. All those guys are fast enough to play that position. You brought him in here to be a quarterback. He lost weight when he came here. He goes to the Jets. He gains a bunch of weight. He comes here. Are you going to be a quarterback? Yes. Give him that opportunity. But at least the Patriots are smart enough to know not to be able to try and put that round hole in that square peg. That's not who he is. And he's tough. He'll take a hit. And we've seen him in college, and we've seen him in the pros. He's a guy that isn't going to give up. Now, do you change your whole offense? No, you don't do that. You just add to it.
Well, you don't want to end up in 3rd and 10. I think that's the biggest point. We understand here, Christian. You're talking about doing the smart thing, doing the right thing, doing sort of the Patriot thing. They really want to get the easy play. Josh McDaniels is going to design it so that there's going to be an easy read. There's going to be something to keep you on tempo, keep it in 2nd and manageable, keep it in 3rd and even more manageable. Now we see him around on recess, and this is what he does well sometimes. but he got an incompletion. So right there, he may have had an opportunity to pull it down and take it. But what really predicated this was 3rd and 10. You don't want to be in that situation because no team is good from 3rd to 10, especially one who's not a traditional pocket passing quarterback.
He just overthrows Aaron Dobson here. What are you seeing, Christian, as far as protection goes?
He's got great protection, but they dropped too many guys, and nobody's open. So he keeps the play alive, which is what you want him to do. And could he have made a better throw? Yeah, sure, but he's rolling to his right, and he's a left-handed quarterback.
Bottom line for both of you, let's start with Christian. Do you like the Tim Tebow signing on June 11th? And are you okay with what they're trying to do here with him?
Listen, we knew when he came here that they were going to handle the situation correctly. And so far, we got a flag on the play real quick, find out what's going on there. But the most important thing is how they were going to use him. Okay, he's not a special teams guy. Now Matt Chatham can talk for another hour about why he shouldn't be a special teams guy. But he's a quarterback. Keep him in that role. Don't play him at receiver. Don't play him at tight end. Okay? And keep him off special teams.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think we get off track a bit when we start talking about those other positions. I mean, there are a lot of people in the world that are 6'2" and 240. I mean, those are also starting pitchers in Major League. Just because of those dimensions, should he be a Sox pitcher? No, I don't think so. So you can't just presume a guy in a position based on body size. That said, he's done some positive things here tonight. I know it's not necessarily always pretty, but he's had some nice drives. Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and let Steven go ahead and take a bomb here. So Bill often likes to do that. He'll challenge you in practice, throw it back to a distance, and stretches a little bit and see, hey, what's the ceiling on what I might be able to try in a game where I need this kick? Let's see if Adam, I called him Adam. Let's see if Steve can knock down the big ball. So I know where to place it when we're in that situation in a real deal.
That's okay, Matt. You're forgiven. You won Super Bowls with that guy, so it's okay.
It happened. It did.
As Gostkowski misses it, it's his second miss of the night. He's made one. More Tebow discussion when we return. Patriots by 17. One of the stars tonight in this 31-14 lead for the New England Patriots is LeGarrette Blount. 96 yards and a pair of touchdowns in leading the Patriots here. And next game for the Patriots comes Friday night on Fox as Tampa Bay visits New England, and they'll visit them all week long. Much like we saw here between the Patriots and Eagles, they practice 3 times together. They'll do that next week in Foxborough and then have the game on Friday. LeGarrette Blount comes from Tampa Bay. 1,000-yard rusher in 2010, 781 yards in 11, and then 151 yards in 2012.
Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Get a penalty there against the Eagles, but LeGarrette Blount, one of those guys. Bill Belichick was asked today, we asked him about the fact that guys play Tampa in the regular season, and you're also going to practice with him. Is that a factor here as they play him in week 3 on September 22nd? And Bill basically downplayed that, but I'm certainly sure we have a storyline of LeGarrette Blount against Tampa, but also the Patriots, and how does that factor in playing them and practicing with them, and then also facing them in week 3 of the season?
Well, they're just going to go out there and try and get good work. They're not going to try and mess around and make the other guy see ghosts and try and trick them and hide something so they don't see it when they play each other week 3. These guys are friends. They know each other. I mean, there's 9 guys from the Rutgers team on the Patriots, so that's going to be a positive thing for Schiano. But this is all about getting better. This is all about seeing different looks, going against different people, challenging your players as much as possible, trying to get the most out of the work.
Back Barkley with a completion. It's interesting in listening to Bill. He basically said, listen, we're professional enough. We're just getting our work in. He likes this type of tempo and being able to go against someone else other than themselves. So, yeah, like you said, professionalism, but it's okay. When you look at what's going on, Tampa will be in town, and we'll see more LeGarrette Blount going against his old mates. Let's go to Gillette Stadium with Andy and Paul. The guys, LeGarrette Blount certainly has a chip on his shoulder coming into tonight. He'll have a bigger one coming into next week, no?
Yeah, no question. I mean, this is a guy, I talked to him this earlier this month, and he was talking about, I've had 1,000 yards 3 times in high school. I had 1,000 yards community college, 1,000 yards at Oregon, 1,000 yards in Tampa, and then he just sort of fell out of favor. And he had his job taken from him, obviously, and he ends up here. This is sort of a second opportunity, but he's behind a guy who was a 1,000-yard rusher. I do think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he thinks he's a lead back in the National Football League. He's certainly shown it tonight. The only question is there a role for him on this team in that type of mold?
And guys, he's just so big. I mean, he's such an imposing guy. You look at him, and he's 250 pounds. You don't see too many guys that size that run like that.
The bigger question, when he came here, was he going to be able to pick up the offense? But from what I've seen from the first time I saw him and to tonight, I mean, he's got everything you really want. Now, I get it's preseason, and you're not dealing with the ones, but he definitely has the ability. So we're going to take a break right now. Patriots 31, Eagles 14. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back from Lincoln Financial Field.
It was 31-14. Dan Roach along with Christian Fourier up here in the booth. Matt Chatham on the field along with Steve Burton, Paul Perillo, Andy Hart back in our Gillette Stadium studios. Glad to have you with us here. We're glad to have football back as we discuss and break down this New England Patriots team and guys that will make an impact in somehow, some way. Tim Tebow, LeGarrette Blount, guys you're seeing here tonight, players on defense, and Marcus Forston. Just all kinds of interesting issues when it comes to who is going to make this team and what they need to do to make this team as we move along here in the fourth quarter. The Eagles have moved the ball nicely here in this drive with Matt Barkley as they take it second and short. And it's complete. Now it looks like we got a touchdown coming up. We do. Simple as that. You got to hit them right there if you're the Patriots. You got to take them down. But going into the end zone is Greg Salas, the one-time Patriot, as he comes up with a touchdown pass from Matt Barkley, who looked pretty good on that drive, Christian.
It was a great pass. It was a great catch. But in this situation, you got to be in position to finish the play. You're doing a great job right there with Logan Ryan was to make the tackle. And Logan Ryan is a guy who is a good tackler, known as a tackler. And Tavon Wilson, those guys got to be able to corral that guy, bring him downfield, and not allow him to get inside the end zone.
Yeah, when they go to the film room.
But that's a play that shouldn't happen. Logan Ryan did a great job avoiding the block, getting off the block. The receiver whiffed. He was in position to make a play. He broke down, but he wasn't able to make the play.
Well, guys, you got to understand this is a situation where you can sort of route recognize. You can see they're in that little stack position. They've thrown that screen before. Logan Ryan did a great job of recognizing what it was. Didn't make the play. Did a nice block avoid and got out there and there we go again.
Well, Bill Belichick wasn't pleased with that last play. I'm sure he's not pleased with the two-point conversion as the Eagles go for it and get it. And now they trail by 9. Not good for the Patriots there. Some missed tackles. We've got a 9-point game here early in the fourth quarter. Stay with us. More to come.
Hey, back here, guys, on your Patriots preseason broadcast, and you get to see a little bit of the side of Coach Belichick, the coach in Coach Belichick. Coach out there teaching his guys. He's not trying to rip a guy's butt. He's not trying to lay into him. He's trying to use this as a teaching moment, which is really what these games are, an extended practice for these guys. So you see a guy like Tavon Wilson, which we really need to understand, is a guy who would actually be a higher pick than Jamie Collins was for this team in last year's draft. He's a guy they've invested quite a bit in, and he's a guy who has some physical tools. You see him down on the field. He's big, not quite Adrian Wilson big, but he's a big dude, and he's physical, and he's got a nose for the football. But he took a really poor angle there on a play that he should have made a play on, so coach is going to come back and bring him and say, hey, route adjust.
Bill Belichick.
See the formation, make the play. You knew what the play is, take the correct angle.
One of the best.
Get ball.
Justin Green with the touchback there. Patriots will take over 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Time now for our United Healthcare Fantasy Fit. Our Fantasy Fit brought to you by the good people of United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. Yeah, that's a nice fit. I had him 3 years ago when he was a 1,000-yard rusher. Dropped him last year.
Gotcha.
Picked up Derek Martin. Yes, thank you very much. And a nice fantasy pickup tonight. Having a good night. Maybe we start to consider him when it comes to who's your fantasy fit this year on all your teams. All 10 of mine, Christian.
I don't want to get obsessed with that like you are.
1st and 10 for Patriots. Tebow the handoff to LeGarrette Blount again as he gets up near 100 yards. Jake Knott on the stop.
I think what's important right here, if you're watching this game and you're paying attention to just the quarterback situation going on with Tim Tebow, it's so important for him to get positive yards on 1st and 2nd down. The last series was a 3rd and 10. It was an obvious passing situation, easy defensive calls for the Eagles. So you want to make sure you give them those chances to get to 3rd and 2, to get to 3rd and 4, those manageable 3rd down situations.
Full backfield for Tebow. He'll give it up again. DeBlunt gets near the 25. Boy, he's stopped by a host of Philadelphia Eagles. The interesting thing, Matt was talking about, Christian, about teachable moments and what Bill Belichick teaches. what Patriots fans don't get to see are the 3 practices we had here in Philadelphia, and just how involved, whether it's standing in the goal line, in the back of the end zone, watching his defense battle goal line situations, or talking with the quarterbacks as they run certain situations. He's so hands-on in every aspect, offense, defense, special teams. Is that what you enjoyed about a Bill Belichick coach team when you played for him?
Well, he's a teacher first, and that goes with coaching. In a situation like this, you're probably going to see the Eagles probably blitz. They're going to bring some extra pressure. And
Tebow lays it out, and it's nearly picked off by the Philadelphia Eagles, intended for Aaron Dobson.
This is the one play that all throughout camp I've seen Tim Tebow complete. This is usually his strong suit, this deep out pass where he puts it up there and allows his receiver to make a play. Underthrows it, the defensive back is in a better position. What he needs to do is kind of throw it more outside. The receiver needs to give himself a little bit more room to work that fade, work that sideline. But again, these are situations that he's been in before. He's strong at those plays. He just needs a little bit more accuracy.
Curtis March with the near pick. We've got a punt. The Eagles have the ball at their own 30-yard line, and it's taken back for a few yards by Jordan Poyer. More to come here. More Tebow and company. Patriots up by 9 here in the 4th quarter. Lots of conversations on the sidelines. Teachable moments, instruction, what you need to do here. Guys trying to make the team. Good shot there of LeGarrette Blount. Brandon Bolden, 2 of the running backs for the Patriots. Talking with Ivan Fears about where they need to go. 9-point lead for the Pats. 13-15 left to go here in the contest. It's been a fun first preseason game. Lots of offense. Interesting looks. You get to see a lot of the rookie wide receivers, tight ends, and a lot of LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah, he's had a great game so far today. Over 100 yards already. And talk about teachable moments. Josh McDaniels, before we went to break, was telling Tim Tebow how he had to throw that ball, that last fade route he did to the sideline, how he needs to get more air on it, and he needs to throw a little bit earlier.
Dennis Dixon in a quarterback for the Eagles, who try to get back into this game against the Patriots defense. Pickup of 5 for Matthew Tucker. Marcus Forston on the stop for New England. Dennis Dixon, an interesting quarterback here. Chip Kelly knows him, played for him at Oregon. Is Kelly, the New Hampshire native, coming in after astounding success with Oregon and leading that high-powered offense, after building really that offense as an assistant at UNH, University of New Hampshire. And here's more running from Tucker around the left side. Gets near midfield, has the first down, and they'll keep the clock running. And, again, quarterback like Dixon, familiarity with Chip Kelly, getting a little look here and maybe seeing what he can do as far as how to run this offense.
I mean, this is usually the type of quarterback that Chip Kelly has. He has an athletic, multiple skill set type of quarterback. That his first ability, he can throw it, that's a plus, but he really wants him to be able to run that offense. But at its core, like we said earlier, this offense is a power offense. When they run the ball, that's what they want to do. They want to go downhill. They don't be physical.
High tempo, upbeat offense. And Matt Chatham, let's get your thoughts on one of the newcomers, one of the younger players on this New England Patriots team, Steve Boharness.
Another shot there, Steve Boharness, guys. That was a good look at a guy who just does a good nose for the ball. He's not necessarily defeating blocks. He's not the biggest linebacker, but he tempos the ball. That's a phrase we use that says you don't overrun plays. You move laterally more than 40 times and things like that. So he tempos the ball. You can tell when a guy can just tackle, and often that translates to special teams. It translates to sort of the more the open field stuff, the nickel plays. We often look at these linebackers that are nickel linebackers, and the first thing everyone wants to talk about is how are they as coverage linebackers. But the real thing that crops up, they're not all pass plays on nickel. It's often have to tackle in space and cover ground that's often not there in the regular defensive plays where it's a little more crowded. So he's a guy with space. He's a guy with some ability to move out here, and we're seeing his skill set.
Well, he's a mentally and physically tough guy. He's not a great cover guy. He's not going to be down there on third down. He's a first and second down guy, but to piggyback what you said, good football intelligence. Can he cover in space? He's okay, but more importantly, he can diagnose on the move. He's a guy that when he sees the play developing, he can adjust to it. Now, he only runs a 4.8, so he's not blazing down the field, but he makes up for it for knowing where the play is going to go.
Yeah, we just inducted Teddy a couple weeks ago. I don't think the 40 time is terribly relevant at that position if you've got the instincts, if you've got the nose for the ball, if you make the right first step. If you walk yourself out of the play, it doesn't matter what your 40 time is. So Boharnis has got that skill, and he's a kind of interesting guy to watch. He tempos the ball well. I think we've seen it with Brandon Spikes. I mean, it's interesting to bring that kind of body type in here where you don't have to run fast. You just have to make the correct first move. You have to reroute guys. You have to match backs, but you don't have to run all over the field and chase them. You just have to make smart steps.
Well, Boharnis was a 7th-round draft pick. Dixon with the pass here on a 2nd down. Boharnis, a 7th-round choice, 235th overall in this year's draft. He was a captain at Rutgers out of Saddlebrook, New Jersey. Interesting, he played 1 year at St. Joseph's, same high school as Devin McCourty. So again, that Rutgers connection. Bill Belichick seemingly liking these Rutgers-type players coming out of that system.
Rutgers had a great defense along with Kasheem Green, who got drafted also. Really good linebacking core over there at Rutgers. And they're being coached well. So there's a reason why Belichick is going after those guys, and forget about what their speed is and what conference they played in, because they played in the Big East. It's not the best and toughest competition. But you can find athletes and just coach them up.
Felix Jones, Jeff Tarpinian with a miss on the tackle there. Well, Boharnis is one of those interesting guys. Again, you know, one of the things you take away with Bill Belichick is football intelligence. And maybe when Bill gets a system or a coach that he likes and trusts, he just keeps bringing those guys in to see what they can do.
And we talked about this with Matt, and you can touch on this, is why would a guy like Boharnis be grabbed by the Patriots? He's one of those guys that isn't the best physical athlete, but if you weigh what your options are, you might as well take a guy like Boharnis, who could definitely play in the NFL, has the right skill set, just needs to be coached up the right way.
Nice shot, guys, here on Marcus Bernard. I know we're off of Boharnis there for a second, but Bernard, number 58, I got to jump in on that. He's getting an opportunity here today because Jermaine Cunningham's hurt, and often the whole, Jermaine Cunningham did a really nice job at a lighter body type moving inside of the nickel. We now see Bernard in that role, and he had a sack on the last play. So this is sort of that thing, stepping up when opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, Bernard with the Pats' first sack of the night. Dixon tries to run it outside. He's tripped up on the play nicely by Jason Vega. Cut the feet right underneath him, making a play.
This is the lateral move that you need to stop this read option. This is a dual read by Dixon. His first option is to run upfield with the ball. The second option is to throw to the receiver out wide. If the receiver isn't covered, he's going to toss it to him and let him run. And that way, both ways were covered.
3rd down, 15 for the Eagles. Time winding down in this one. 8:43 left to go here in the 4th quarter. Glad to have you with us here tonight. Patriots football is back. Dixon running with that football. Tripped up, gets just inside the 30-yard line. And it'll be a 4th down situation, field goal situation for the Eagles. We'll wait and see, though. Chip Kelly. Looks like you may go for it in this situation. Again, one of these moments, situations, you learn what kind of things they doing here, Christian.
This is Chip Kelly in college. He went for it on 4th down a lot. He went for the 2-point conversion 90% of the time. I know it's a preseason game, but this is what his mentality is, and he wants more reps.
Down by 9. Dixon has time. Deflected. Ball falls in and out of hands of the intended receiver. Nice play also by Justin Green. It was intended for Will Murphy, but no go. The Patriots will take over. Tim Tebow and company when we return.
Well, back here at the link, here's your Pepsi close-up LeGarrette Blount. 11 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. The difference between a good back and average back. An average back runs waiting to be tackled. A good back runs for the end zone every single time. And that's what LeGarrette Blount is doing tonight. He's got a nose for the end zone, and he is our Pepsi close-up player of the game. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Blount certainly impressive. Tim Tebow doing a nice job. 25 snaps, 47 yards passing, 31 yards rushing. Leads the offense here. 1st and 10. Gets hammered down and taken down at the 21-yard line on the play by the Philadelphia Eagles. That was Chris McCoy with the sack of Tebow. and it'll set up a 2nd and long. What are you seeing here again on this play in particular, Christian?
Well, you know, this is just a little breakdown in the offensive line. They get a little stunt up front. He comes through the line and kind of rushes Tebow a little bit. He has that escapability that you know that it's kind of given him the name. But again, sometimes it's just better just to get rid of the ball instead of trying to fight your way through it.
3rd time he's been sacked tonight. 2nd and long for Tebow and the Patriots. Winding down time in the 4th quarter, just throws that one down into the dirt. Patriots looked like they had a screen set up to Bolden, and he just didn't see it and threw it down.
Well, now you put yourself in a 3rd and 18 situation, and there's not many plays, period, in the regular season, playoff season, where you have plays for 3rd and 18. So what do? So you have the draws, you have the screens, you have a just easy, handoff, try and just move the chains and live for another day.
All right, so a 3rd down and long situation. Let's go to Gillette Stadium. Andy Hart and Paul Perillo. What are you guys thinking of Tebow, what you've seen so far, and what are the fans thinking as well?
Well, fans, it's typical Tebow fans. They're supporting him because he's Tim Tebow, not because of what they're seeing on the field. And it's not pretty. We have to be honest. That was a nice throw right there, but it's not pretty. And for a team that we talked about earlier, Tom Brady goes 7 of 8 or 26 of 26 in a practice. Patriots fans are used to seeing a precision passing attack, and that's not what you get with Tim Tebow, and they're not used to seeing it.
Yeah, the thing that stands out to me still is how polarizing this guy is. There's 4 or 5 guys saying what a great job Tebow's doing, and then there's another 4 or 5 guys that are saying this guy looks like he's never been on an NFL field. What I do find interesting, though, is the package, the pistol package that they've obviously put in just for him. That seems to be when he's most comfortable. He's a college quarterback, guys. This is what he is. If he has to play, it's going to be as a college quarterback.
Ryan Allen with the punt. The Eagles return and set it up at the 28-yard line. 1st and 10 when we return. Tim Tebow and the Patriots up by 9.
Come back to the Toyota drive of the game. How about Stephen Ridley setting up his own touchdown, taking it up through the field and then getting in the end zone. He has a nose for the touchdown as well. And then Brady, he's going to hook up with Shane Vereen in the corner of the end zone. Nice catch by Vereen. That's touchdown. You see Brady reaction. And there you go. Patriots on top right now by the score 31-22. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you very much, Steve Burton. Yeah, getting back to Tom Brady, he was clearly the star this week of practice when we watched him and the Patriots take on the Eagles for 3 straight days. That first day, I can't remember which of our Patriot writers had it, but I think he was 44 of 48 on snaps in practice, Christian, and there were 2 drop balls on him. The one thing you and I think everybody there was not alarmed at, but really impressed with, was when Brady walked into that complex, the intensity went up a notch for both teams. And the Eagles talked about this too, just how impressed they were with Tom Brady and what he is all about still at the age of 36.
Well, I think you really get, the one time that I got appreciation for how good he really is when I was sitting on the opposite sideline when I was playing for the Washington Redskins, and I saw how efficient he was and how he was able to really pick apart the defense. And you talk to other players on the defense who played against him, they talk about how tough he was. Adrian Wilson was talked about how you really have to hide everything. You can't show anything. You want to try and blitz him, you can't show it to the very last minute because he sniffs it out and he reacts to it, and then it's too late. And then when you play against a normal quarterback who doesn't have that skill set, you're left, not being as effective in rushing the quarterback.
Well, we're watching Dennis Dixon run the quick up-tempo read option offense of Chip Kelly, but Adrian Wilson, getting back to that, Christian, when we talked to him this morning, he just said you can't even move an inch. You can't give Brady any type of body movement because he'll read that and react and go and throw the ball where he needs to throw it. And he said, he sees the ball very well, sees everything, and he's a lot like Kurt Warner, who he played with in Arizona and faced as far as a quarterback is concerned. He said that kind of vision, that kind of the way that he plays the game. And again, everywhere you go, people laud what Brady does, and he just continues to do at the age of 36. And we have a flag down on the play. We'll get the call here. Then we'll go downstairs to Matt Chatta for his thoughts of facing a guy like Tom Brady.
Well, guys, with Tom Brady, you get a very special skill set. You get a guy that can diagnose everything, and I think that's probably the thing that tests the defense the most. We talked with
Defense,
Adrian this week.
number 99.
Adrian Wilson talked a lot
That
about how
penalties decline
it's different when you're with
as a
Tom
result of the play.
as opposed to facing other
First
teams
time.
because you don't have to worry about disguise as much as when you do with Tom. Tom sees everything. As an opponent playing against him for a few years, you had to always understand how he uses the play clock, how he uses the information that you give him. It's sort of like playing cards, quite frankly. It's a little bit like poker. You can't give too much pre-snap information because he will hurt you. So it's a guy that you try to lie to be honest. You try to figure out at what point of the play clock he's going to take the ball out. And everything you do prior to that can't be real. You can't align in your drop. You can't align in your motion. I mean, whatever it is your responsibility is, you don't want to stand in it and wear a placard. Tom will read the placard.
Have an injury down on the field for the Eagles. Emil Iguanagu is the injured player down, the kid from UMass. Let's hope he's okay. Back to our Brady discussion here. Let's set it up, though, 1st and 10. Time winding down, 5 minutes to go for Dennis Dixon, and that Eagles offense pass falls incomplete. The question, I guess, maybe fall to now is, as you watch the perfection of Brady, Christian, and then we'll bring in Matt here too, is how hard is it to be Ryan Mallett? How hard is it to be Tim Tebow when you're seeing that greatness and then you try to follow that and be effective as a quarterback, not only with the Patriots, but in the NFL?
First of all, you don't try to follow it. You don't try to be
exactly.
it. It's unattainable for most people to be able to do what he does. He's very gifted, but I think this is a great opportunity for guys who want to know what it takes to be in the NFL, to know what it takes to put the work in, to know how to study, what their study habits should be, how to read a defense, what to give away. This guy's been in this offense since he came into the league.
And it seems hard. I mean, we've seen guys, Matt Castle comes to mind as who succeeded when Brady went down or behind Brady as Dixon does some scrambling to get near a first down here. But I got to think it's hard to be that backup quarterback to a guy like Tom.
Well, what you do is you learn what not to do. I think that's the most important thing with Tom. You don't say, hey, I'm going to throw the ball like Tom Brady throws the ball. I'm going to somehow learn to have Tom Brady vision. That may not be attainable. What you do is you learn what not to do. You avoid the mistakes. You eliminate portions of the field that are unimportant. You learn to read defenses in a way that Tom can help you in the classroom. You got the best mentor in the world, feet from you, and you take advantage of that. So you try to minimize the distractions. You try to shrink the field into the things that you can digest and that your arm can take advantage of.
Yeah, certainly interesting stuff with Brady. Meanwhile, the Eagles continue their drive, get a first down on a big 4th down situation. The Patriots defense couldn't hold them there, and they continue to run the ball here. Guys, what are you seeing from the Patriots defense here late on this drive against Dixon and company?
Well, what you're getting, guys, is you're getting very vanilla defense. And this is one of the things that stresses a young defense at this time of the game. They're not going to get anything exotic. They're not going to give you a blitz package. They're just going to want to see you play your base technique in a relatively vanilla coverage, which gives an offense a relatively easy look at you. So they want to see you play the technique, and they want to see you not make mistakes. Here, you need to tackle.
A drop ball there by the Eagles. Let's go back to Gillette Stadium. Paul Perillo and Andy Hart. Guys, you've been watching this team. We're talking defense now. We just discussed Adrian Wilson and the toughness that he brings. What do you think of the safety position as we look at them here early in camp, preseason game number 1, about what you're seeing from this Patriots group?
Well, Dan, I think it's an interesting position. You talk about Wilson, the newcomer, but there are some questions about whether he's lost a step, what can he do in pass coverage. Obviously, we didn't see Devin McCourty tonight because he's had that red jersey on all spring as he comes, and summer as he comes back from a shoulder injury. And you have a couple of young guys, Deron Harmon and Tavon Wilson, we're seeing now. It's almost that we've seen Harmon pass up Wilson on the depth chart here, and Wilson is, a little bit of a disappointment if he's getting passed up by the new guy after just being a second-round pick a year ago. So I think that depth in the secondary and who's going to win the job next to McCourty is very interesting at this point.
Well, incomplete pass there by Dennis Dixon. Yeah, one of the things we didn't touch upon was the injury in those players that weren't at practice this week, and it's a long list, especially on the offensive line, as we watch the replay here, the pursuit of the Patriots. Marcus Cannon, Dan Conley, Tyrone Green, Mark Zuzovic, Kevin Haslam on the offensive line, the veteran Michael Jenkins, Brandon Ford, the tight end, all not practicing, Jermaine Cunningham, Nate Ebner, Razai Dowling, another guy in that backfield, and no Alfonso Dennard seemed to come up lame a little bit yesterday. So injuries factor in here too, as far as it's concerned. As far as the Patriots, and let's go back to Gillette Stadium. We just heard Andy Hart and Paul Perillo. Guys, overall, no Razai Dowling, Alfonso Dennard hurt. It looked like yesterday in practice. You look at the secondary continuing from safety to corner. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's an opportunity right now. You have all of those guys out that you mentioned, Dan, and you have guys like Logan Ryan getting a lot of opportunity to play tonight. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, I think they've had some opportunities to make some throws, and their quarterbacks, whether it be Barkley or Dixon now, really haven't been able to connect them. I'd like to think that Bill Belichick is looking for some tighter coverage back there. But there's a lot of opportunity. The guys like Justin Green are in the game, Daron Harmon, as we mentioned, Logan Ryan, Tavon Wilson. These young guys have opportunities to fight for jobs, and they're not all going to win them. We're going to find out in these preseason games who's going to emerge.
Oh, the fourth down situation looks like the Eagles went for it and didn't make it. So the Patriots defense does its job. When we come back, the Patriots offense gets the ball. Oh, lovely look at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway here in Philadelphia, where the New England Patriots and Philadelphia Eagles are just about to put the wraps on preseason game number 1. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, and his Patriots leading by a score of 31-22 with 2.5 left to go. We've seen a lot of interesting things, a lot of good topics of discussion here, and I'm sure the same will happen now. The Patriots, Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels will take it back and take a look and get ready for practices next week with Tampa Bay, and then next Friday night, a game with the Buccaneers. Tim Tebow at the helm, gives it over the left side to George Wynn. He doesn't get much running room there. Now, what will happen here, Christian, as a fan taking us back, when the Patriots go home, what happens next to get ready for the practices and preseason game number 2?
Well, they're all going to take a nice little short flight back home, and they're going to watch the film tomorrow, everything as a group, kind of diagnose what happened, go over the game situations, and just critique what everybody did, what their performance was, and how they blocked. And I think there's a lot of good things you can take away from this game. There's a lot of areas you can improve.
They'll see what they can do. All right, 2-minute warning. Patriots by 9. We'll be back. Patriots Preseason Network. City Hall Plaza in Philadelphia. William Penn up top there. City of brotherly love. Certainly a wonderful city. Christian Fourier, Dan Roach, Matt Chatham here. Patriots discussing and figuring out what they did, what they need to do as they go forward. Don't forget, stay tuned after tonight's game for the Toyota post-game report. We'll recap tonight's game for you, as the Patriots look like they'll escape with the 1-0 record here in the preseason. One thing we've seen Christian do well is eat cheesesteaks while he's been here in Philadelphia. We've had several different samples from several different restaurants.
Yes, I think I ate about 6 Philly cheesesteaks from 3 different places.
We're watching the players in the field and things like that. One thing I take away from working with you and Matt Chatham here early is how well you guys eat. You certainly do a good job.
Oh, you don't do too bad yourself.
Cheese Whiz.
Matt has a thing against Cheese Whiz, so don't mention Cheese Whiz. He thinks Cheese Whiz is just for kids.
Christian is Cheese Whiz is for children.
It's not for children.
Cheese Whiz is for children.
All right, children, settle down.
Make sure you get your animal crackers and your Lunchables as well, Christian.
Hey, listen, Lunchables is a part of this complete breakfast and lunch. So
maybe a Capri Sun with your Cheese Whiz?
Yeah, a little sippy cup.
All right, here we go. 2nd down and 12 for Tim Tebow and the Patriots. Jonathan Haggerty comes in motion, comes into the backfield now. Tebow fakes the Gibbs, going to run it himself. Has nowhere to go, tries to pitch it, and pitches it out of bounds forward. Not good there from Tim Tebow. Let's look at something good, though. Let's go down memory lane. Yes, the Patriots starting their journey to Super Bowl 48 in New Jersey. The last time they won it was Super Bowl 39 against the Philadelphia Eagles in Jacksonville, Florida. It capped a wonderful 2004 season. It was their 3rd championship in 4 seasons as they beat the Eagles 24-21. I think Vince Wilfork and Tom Brady, the only remaining 2 players from that Patriots Super Bowl winning team, and a lot of fans want to see them get back to that promised land and take another trophy here in the Belichick, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady era. Bolden up and over, down at the 20-yard line. How you look?
Back to the Cheese Whiz topic.
Wow.
I need to hear Matt Chatham diagnose what his issue is with Cheese Whiz.
But no,
Still on the Cheese Whiz.
we need to get back. No, we need to get back to Matt Chatham. It was part of that Super Bowl winning team. You know, Christian Fourier, you guys have won Super Bowls here. Can this Patriots organization get back to winning that Super Bowl here? What's it going to take for Tom Brady to win one as he's winding down his career?
You know, 3 Super Bowls for Tom Brady in his first 4 seasons as a starter. 7 seasons without winning another one. Been there 2 other times, but he couldn't quite finish. Listen, he's 36 years old, and what I've seen, the guy hasn't lost a step. He's just as good as he was 7 years ago. So as long as he has the right guys around to make him better and a good defense, I think he's there. There's the opportunities there.
Well, what do you like about this particular football team to go around Tom Brady?
Well, first of all, I like the fact that the young guys seem to get it. And I think that's the first thing when you ask a Tom Brady, like, what do you like about these guys, is that they get it. You know, they're willing to learn. They're doing the right work. They're all fighting for a spot. They're all fighting to do the right thing. And defensively, this defense, I think a lot of the success of this team is going to be predicated on how well this defense can keep a lead. You know, because in the past, the Patriots have to score a lot of points. You know, if they don't score 20 points, they won't win the game.
Well, get away from the Patriots rush there as G.J. Kinney out of Tulsa with the completion. And a first down for the Eagles here with 37 seconds left to go in the ball game. I think that's a question for a lot of Patriots fans, is can that defense just get better than it has been? And Matt, what's it going to take to get better? You know, a guy like Chandler Jones making that first year to second year jump. Who are those guys that need to step in and step up even more?
Well, you mentioned Chandler. I think that's a great start. Dante Hightower, which we haven't spoken much about today. This group is really reminiscent to me of some of those old days, and I know it's we're not doing that. We're not trying to make a direct comparison, but just the big in the box guys. We got a score here.
Well, we got a completion down to the 2-yard line as time winds down. Will they be able to get a playoff? It does not look like it.
No, they will not.
Yeah, a nice completion to Greg Salas. Did they get the timeout? We'll see. And we may have time left on the clock. Chip Kelly certainly wants it. The quarterback, Kinney, wants it, and he gets it. So we will stay here with precious few seconds left to go on the clock.
Beautiful catch.
Chip Kelly's
Great
like,
catch
look at him, look at his chops. We getting another play here, boys?
Well, it's Greg Salas, too. Correct, fellas?
Yeah.
From that was with the Patriots for a bit last year and left on waivers. So make a nice play for the young kid, help himself make a roster.
Yeah, beautiful catch right there from Salas. Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good week this week, too, for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll get one more play here.
Oh, and it's interesting, guys. This is often, I know we're at sort of garbage time here in the game, but it's amazing how much focus, when you go into these meetings that Christian talked about tomorrow, they're going to go back to the training facility. It'll be amazing how much time and energy is spent diagnosing this play we're about to watch.
Well, we've got an extended situation, and it looks like Bill Belichick is trying to call a timeout himself.
And don't think that Bill doesn't take this play just as seriously as the one in the first. He loves that he's gotten one play to end the game that the game rides upon. He's going to see that. You want to see some production out of your guys. You want to see them play the technique and see if the defense holds up and see if they maybe need to make a different call. So this is a learning thing for everyone. And just trust me, it's situational football. It matters just as much now as it did in the first quarter to Coach Belichick.
Well, it's an extension of what we saw this week in practice, situational football, as you mentioned, Matt. And both coaches seem fine with it. Chip Kelly gets a chance to put a couple more points on the board and see what these guys got. And here we go. Bill Belichick in his defense.
Here we go.
Last second goal situation on the 2-yard line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Kinney, the quarterback, gonna run it left and
great play by
goes
Dane
up
Fletcher.
the middle. Yeah, nice stop up the middle. Faked me out, and they get the nice job of the stop on Matthew Tucker as Dane Fletcher steps in and puts an end to this contest as preseason game number 1 is in the books. A lot of good things from both sides, a lot of great things from the Patriots, some things to work on. A little bit of Brady, a lot of great Brady. Tebow, question mark, and Ryan Mallett unfortunately had to leave the game with an injury. We've got much more to come. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Your final score, the Patriots 31, the Philadelphia Eagles 22.